When the Centerville Elks are away, the Catholic kids will play. Welcome, everybody, to Centerville Stadium. Beautiful Centerville Stadium in Centerville, Ohio. For tonight's Week 7 matchup on our Butler County High School Sports Report, the Badin Rams travel up here to take on the 4-2 Alter Knights. Joel Sackenheim along with Dr. Dan Vogt and the dad, Neil Sackenheim.
Hello.
Greetings, gentlemen.
Greetings.
Safe travels up here, I assume. You got up here in one piece?
Yes, we did. It was a nice drive.
We actually got up here in two pieces because Dan's one piece and I'm the other.
That's true, yeah, you're right.
We made it
Yes.
up here in two pieces.
Yes, we did.
Not four pieces, Dan. Okay.
Well, the Badin Rams are off to a 6-0 start so far this year after being in the state finals last year, and Badin may look a little better even than last year's team that made it that far. The Badin Rams have not given up a point in 14 quarters, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Driving up here with Neil, we were discussing that, and Neil had a nickname he thought he'd like to throw out there. What do you think, Neil?
I've been off the air a couple of weeks getting over the little cold here, but I've been saying this since Roger Bacon. This is the green machine.
Green machine. Green machine.
And the green machine. The green machine eats football teams.
Yes.
14 scoreless quarters.
14
in a row.
consecutive scoreless quarters.
And all the more impressive because the last three scores for the Badin victories were 42-0, 23-0, and 42-0. And when you have a running clock, as Joel and I have discussed many weeks, and how we hate
had
it.
a lot of them.
How we hate it because they do put in the junior varsity and the backups. You would think that maybe Badin would have given up a touchdown, a field goal, or something, but no. Even the backups are shutting down the opponent. So it's been impressive. Nowadays football is all about offense, scoring, fantasy football, but good old-fashioned defense, that's what the Badin Rams are all about.
Defense will travel for sure.
Yes.
Now, as for the Alter Knights, they're 4-2. They're rebuilding a little bit. They've only got 6 seniors on their team. And so they're going to be relying on a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors tonight as they try to get their way through their season.
Yes, they are. Their quarterback, speaking of underclassmen, Gavin Connor, sophomore. He's 5'11", 166, so a little speed demon, I'm guessing. I was looking at the we have the national anthem. Let's pause for a second.
Okay, we'll pause for the anthem then. You won't be able to hear it, though.
All right.
Yeah, no chance of hearing that through the glass windows here at Centerville.
No. And we weren't going to sing it to you, even though Joel is musically inclined.
I will only make one comedic comment.
Okay.
You know, in the shape our country is in, it seemed like a very long moment of silence for our poor country.
There he is. All right. Wow.
So, that's all I'll say about
Send
that.
all complaints to Neil Sackenheim.
Wah, wah, wah.
We did not get a chance to go out and talk with the coaches today. However, just looking at the stats so far in the year, Joel earlier said Alder being 4-2. Badin has now marched on the field to a cascade of boos, so that's always nice. Alter has passed for their first 6 games. They passed for 600 yards and ran for 1,100. Now, this is talk about a balanced offense. Badin, conversely, has passed for 1,100 yards and ran for 1,050. So that's pretty balanced, I would say.
And it's interesting you mentioned that. The thing that surprises me is not about Badin and their numbers in terms of balance, and of course Badin's numbers are very good. Alter passing for as many yards as they have. Ed Domzeitz is over 70 years old now.
Yeah.
Several of the Alter coaching staff are in their 70s. These guys have been doing this for a very, very long time, and their statistics typically in most years are very run-heavy. The fact that they've thrown it as much as they have is kind of a little surprising.
It is, isn't it?
Oh.
Most old guys love the running game. I'm no exception.
Roger
I'm
Bacon.
not quite 70 though.
Roger Bacon. Alter won the toss.
Roger Bacon, you see the
Roger Bacon,
brown,
I see
yes.
the colors. But they won the toss, and I guess they've deferred. So Badin will be defending the south goal because here comes Alter for the kickoff.
Tony Arcuri to kick it deep. Actually, not very deep at all. It's going to be to the up man. Off of the face mask and fallen on by Braden Moore.
No.
And then back to Carson Cheek again. Cheek was the one. The ball hit his cheek, bounced off the face mask, went forward. He's quite literal in that return there. Moore tried to fall on it. Cheek ended up falling on it. And after an eventful opening kickoff, the Badin Rams will still begin with the ball off frame. Come on, cameraman. There we go.
Neil's just enjoying
Neil's
the
just
game.
enjoying the game. He doesn't remember he's supposed to work in the camera here. All right, 1st and 10 for the Rams.
And my apologies, folks. We'll get my act together.
Is there any way we can zoom a little bit more?
I can try, but it's too quick to.
Okay.
There is a button up here.
Ritzy's going to hand off to Russo up the middle.
Whoa!
Russo!
Look out.
He
No
cuts
flags
back.
behind. And he's going to be out to the 30-yard line. Let's pick up a game of about 45 to 50 yards on the first carry from the game. Say the Badin Rams.
Wow.
The Red Sea parted there. Great blocking by the Badin line. He ran probably, what would you say, between guard and tackle on the left side there, Joel?
Yeah, it was definitely between the tackles and straight up the middle, easily done. Nobody touched him for 40 yards.
I'm going to back out, Danny.
That-
The
okay.
zoom's too much.
That's
I can't get
fine.
it go the other way. How do I get it?
Other way, Dad.
I'm trying.
There
There
you
we
go.
That's a little bit better, folks.
We're better announcers than cameramen, so bear with us out there.
We're trying to do too many things at one time.
First down, Badin at the 30.
Ritzy now has Jordy along with him. He's going to look to throw. Looks for Cheek.
Looks
He's
like
got him.
Fade rat pattern, touchdown, 2 plays, no problem for the Badin Rams.
This-
Wow.
78-yard drive on 2 plays.
I can't wait to see what the defense is going to do, but this could be really bad news for Alter.
Yeah, Alter looks as stunned as I've ever seen Alter in only 2 plays, and we've seen a lot of Badin Alter games over the years.
And most of those have been Alter victories.
Oh, yeah.
Alter really had Badin's number for most of Joel's life. And
Oh,
Well, what's there?
back when old Dan here used to watch Badin in the 70s and 80s when I was going to school there, Badin would beat Alter back then.
I think it would beat us, Badin 20 years in a row.
Yeah.
extra point is up and is good for Warner.
Good.
Thank you.
So we've got
Alvarez.
11 minutes and 38 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Wow. And the Badin Rams have gone 78 yards
Lightning.
already.
So if you tuned in late, you might
missed a lot.
Yes, you did. That was magic, I'll tell you. Talk about balance there. 1 pass, 1 throw, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, 1 pass and 1 run is all it takes. Badin with a 7-0 lead already over the Alter Knights. Yeah, that did not take long at all.
Even the run was very basic
Yeah.
dive stuff for half the football field.
Yeah,
Just
not a
run.
trick play involving there
Mhm.
at all for the Badin Rams.
Execution.
So Rowan Brown is going to set the ball up on the tee now to Alter Knights deep to return. It looks like that's Michael Russ, a junior, number 5, as well as Colin Wayner, a junior, number 15. Deep to return for the Knights. And here's the kick. And it looks like it's going to be Russ at the 7-yard line. We have a flag on the play. Looks like we have a dead ball. It was not a fair catch called. I think one of the Badin Rams may have been offsides.
Probably outran the kicker.
And they're going to move the kicking tee back 5 yards.
That's what they did.
Yes, as Dad, you mentioned the Badin Rams. I was up here at Roush Stadium watching Badin and Kettering Alter at Kettering Fairmont back in 1999, my freshman year of high school. Badin wins that game and did not beat Alter again until 2019. 20 years later and 22 attempts.
Wow.
Including 3 playoff losses in that series of 19 years of ineptitude there. in this Badin-Alter rivalry. Brown is going to kick this off to Russ. He's going to field it around the 13-yard line. Russ has got a seam. He's going to bounce it past the 40-yard line, and Alter has got some good field position. I'm sure that wishbone offense is going to want to sustain as much possession as they can and keep Badin's vaunted offense back off the field. Badin, since that losing streak of 22 straight games, has now won 4 out of the last 5 against the Knights, the only loss being a defeat in the 2020 COVID-shortened playoffs, where Alter ended Badin's undefeated regular season.
Boy, that was a cold night.
That was
a cold night. I was there.
I was with you, Dan.
Yes, we were.
Here's your wishbone formation for the quarterback, Gavin Connor. And this is going to be a handoff to, it looks like, Jacob Schaefer,
2 yards.
one of the only 6 seniors on the field for the Alter Knights, and Schaefer is only going to get a couple yards. We've seen this wishbone offense for Alter many, many times over the years. And Badin's defense might actually have a little bit of a size advantage. You look at the Badin players out there and the Alter players, and there's this noticeable size difference there in favor of the Rams.
Even the
Yes.
Badin jersey numbers have a size advantage.
Well, yes.
I notice how I'm glad for the white numbers on the brown jerseys, but they're kind of small.
There we go. Connor's going to try to throw this, and it is a completed pass to Andy Duplain. Mr. Duplain, if you please.
If you please.
He's across midfield there.
Or the plane.
Well, the first one, of course, was a Shawshank.
Shawshank, that's
Yes,
right. Andy
yes.
Duplain.
We
And
love our movies,
I had to
folks.
throw out Fantasy Island because I'm old. All right.
1st and 10 for the Alter Knights. They are across midfield as they try to match what Badin's offense did on their first possession of the game. Once again, wishbone formation for Connor. Equally a threat to both run and pass. And this is going to be a fullback dive up the middle, and tripped up is Noah Jones, the fullback. Looks like Ostendorf is the last one getting up on the play for the Badin Rams.
Yeah, we'll be calling Ostendorf a lot tonight. He's the leading tackler on Badin
I was
this
just
year.
thinking, Danny.
40 tackles so
He's
far.
he's a defensive leader out there.
And he's only a junior, so he'll be back next
Look at
year.
that.
Joel said that Alter only had 6 seniors. Badin only has 11 out of 62 players, so Badin's fairly young also.
And Joel, what happened to Brown? That
Aiden
was
Brown?
Yeah.
Well,
he's
Aiden
not
Brown
playing.
is not going to be able to play the rest of the year because he was a transfer student. So you can only play the first 5 games of the regular season
He was pretty
as a
effective.
junior transfer.
Yeah, he was huge.
He was
He will
lightning
be
in a
missed.
bottle.
He's pretty good.
And they'll have him all 10 games next year.
Nice play by
Here's to
Alter there.
Schaefer. Schaefer's bouncing off one tackle and finally brought down by Carson Cheek, but not until Alter is to the 30-yard line. And it's a 1st and 10 for the Knights.
I like the old-fashioned pitch play there. That's kind of football in the late 80s, early 90s. You see that a lot. Don't see that much often anymore.
Well, I'm the guy who flips a coin and guesses it wrong 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's
So I'm
true.
talking about the green machine eating up other teams, and the Knights have something to say about that.
Absolutely. Alter, they're trying to move the ball on the ground. That's what they're most comfortable doing, although they have one completed pass already to Duplain a few plays ago. Man goes in motion. There's a handoff to the fullback, Noah Jones. And Jones is only going to get a couple of yards, but even that's only a 2-yard gain, very important for Alter to continue running plays like that because it keeps the Badin defense honest.
Yes.
Triple option offense is all about assignment football, and you can make the Badin defense have to guard that internal veer, then that opens up the outside lanes for the potential pitch plays later on in the drive. 2nd down and 8 now for the Knights. 8.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter of play. And once again, the sophomore quarterback, Gavin Connor, goes under center. With the man in motion, that's Wooldridge. Handoff. Nope. Fake handoff. It's a pitch to Schaefer.
Good.
Schaefer is wrapped up.
Yeah, Badin was ready for that one.
Good containment.
That's Ostendorf in the bottom of that pile again. They're picking him up now.
Also give a shout out to DJ Holzberger, number 26. No, sorry, that's 76, not 26. Hello. I don't have a 76 on our roster. Dan, you have one on yours?
Let me look here. 76. No, I don't have one either.
All right, that Magical Man 7. Oh, he's got a helmet decal of 44.
Okay, well, that'll
Even
help
though his
us.
jersey 76. I'm going to guess that's Jackson Martin there based on the helmet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
3rd down and 9 for the Alter Knights. It is shotgun formation now for Connor. Connor's going to toss it outside. Quick hitch to Carter Sheets. Sheets, one of the leading receiver for the Alter Knights. He meets it right at the chain, steps out of bounds just perfectly for a first down, and Alter continues to move their drive.
Boy, Sheets, 6'4", 155. Now, that's a pole bean there, I'd say.
I'd call that a bean pole.
Pole bean.
But a pole bean?
If I could only be 155 again, wow.
Dyslexic Dr. Dan.
That's it.
We're at the 20 now.
First down and 10.
Nice
inside
drive.
the red zone.
Sorry,
Red
Joel.
down.
Nice drive for Alter. Very impressive so far.
They've needed it, too, after what happened, the shock and awe from Badin. The fake handoff to the fullback, use the fullback as a lead blocker, handoff to Justin Wooldridge. And Wooldridge is not going to get a lot more yardage than the fullback would have gotten.
As
About half a yard.
Yeah, as the old announcer would say, tackled by the interior of the Badin line. That's for people that don't.
At the bottom of that
Yeah, when there's
stack.
6 Rams on them, you call it the interior of the line.
That's the old announcer. The new announcer would say, 2nd down for the Knights.
Yeah, oh, you know what that means.
Shout out to our friend, Dirk Allen. Hey-oh!
We got to see if the ball will be on the ground. Well, it's on the ground right now. He's getting ready to
Ball
snap
is
it.
definitely on the ground.
2nd down and 9 for the Knights in the shotgun formation now for Connor. He's got one running back, Schaefer, behind him. This is going to be an option.
Got him. No,
Connor keeps
missed
it.
the
Bounced off
tackle.
one tackle.
Nice
Finally wrapped up, but fights his way through. It's going to be close to yardage to gain there. It's going to set up a 3rd and really short for Alter. They've got probably 2 fullback dive punches if they want them here to try to get this thing inside the 10-yard line for the first down.
Badin's going to need a turnover here if they're going to keep them probably from scoring. We don't know anything about their kicking game for Alter, but we're going to find out maybe soon enough.
Well, we're also going to see, too, if Badin stops him on 3rd down. Is it 4th and 5 or is it 4th and 1? Because that changes
That
Coach
can be-
Dome Sights and his decision. Certainly, Alter thinks they got to put some points up the board after seeing what Badin did on their first 2 plays of the previous drive.
Boy, Badin's really stacking the line.
Stacking the line, but the fullback dive is going to get enough yards for Noah Jones, and it's going to be a 1st and goal for the Knights inside the 10-yard line.
To answer your question, Neil, about the field goal kicking, Tony Akuri for Alter, he's 3 out of 5 this year for field goals, and he's 23 of 23 on extra points. So they're in extra point range right now. So they're going to probably give up 3 at least. Badin will, on their defensive streak will be over as far as scoreless quarters unless a turnover comes.
Well, that's pretty darn good for being very close to perfection.
Yes, he's a good,
Perfection
they
is-
got a kicker, that's for sure.
Hard to get, hard to obtain.
Wishbone formation for Connor. Badin defense having a little bit of trouble early on. The double ISO. Handoff up the middle. That looks like Schaefer on the carry. And Schaefer's only going to get about a yard.
When I was in the 6th grade, Joel, that was called a crossbuck.
Crossbuck. I like that.
Crossbuck 44, right, Neil?
44. Well,
No, that would be a 3.
24 crossbuck, I think.
Okay, I thought the 4 guy was the fullback. Crossbuck
Yeah,
44.
but I think it was.
That was the halfback that carried that.
Okay,
behind
then
them.
it would have been a 24 then.
Well, 2 or 4. 3 was fullback.
3 was
for
fullback
me.
in the middle because that was the old power T.
2, 3, 4 power.
2,
T.
3,
So is the
across
4
middle.
is the 4 denoting
on
the
the
left
right.
side?
The hole.
Yeah.
On the right. Mm-hmm.
He's
Swing
oh,
pass.
he had him.
Incomplete, intended for Wooldridge.
Lucky for
Badin. Yeah.
Alter too, because it was forward thrown, but not much.
I'll tell you,
that was a
if-
backwards throw, that would have been a fumble.
If he would have hit him on the numbers, I would have thought that would have been a touchdown.
The only thing I'm going to say about that as a negative thing for Alter is that it does not keep the clock running. And I know it's the first quarter, but it's still something that needs to be considered. Badin was able to put a touchdown on the board from 78 yards away on 2 plays in only 22 seconds of playing time after botching the kickoff return.
That's right.
If your best offense is your best defense,
Keep the offense on the field, and Badin's offense doesn't get the ball.
can't score with
Connor
the
does
ball.
not have a lot to work with.
Look
Throws across his
out.
body. It's going to be caught in the end zone for an Alter touchdown. That's Michael Russ
What a
coming down
catch.
with the ball.
It was thrown in traffic. Number 20 for Badin was on the coverage, Tommy Schuster. He almost got a hand on the ball.
Yeah,
It was close.
Yeah, it almost looked like that was a dangerous throw, but Russ got up and got it.
And here comes your kick.
Let's see.
This is our Curry, number 95.
Plenty of leg.
Oh, yeah.
Easily done. Up and good for the Alter Knights.
So much for Badin's 14-quarter scoreless streak. Alter said, take that. We'll come back. And that's what they did.
So the Green D machine is human.
Yes.
Well, Alter, of course, has the heart of a champion. And
yes,
they've got the coaching staff that's gotten to many, many state championship rounds and put many banners up in their gym.
Well, Joel, you know the playoffs as well as anyone. And last year, Alter, they were a low seed, but they went pretty far in the playoffs, didn't they, Joel?
Pulling up Alter here from last year and taking a look here.
This game's kind of like while you're looking, Joel, it's like a Pittsburgh-Cincinnati football game. I mean, doesn't matter how well either team's doing. They just seem to find ways to play each other.
That's right.
And play each other well.
And watching the Bengals the last 2 weeks, you wonder how they even lost to Pittsburgh. But that's what happens when
you lose your long snapper.
Yeah, you lose your long snapper.
Alter was a 15 seed last year.
Right.
They beat Monroe, the 2 seed, knocked them off 10-7 before losing their second-round game to a very game Tippecanoe squad.
Wow.
That's had a very good season this year so far. This is the return man
Not blockers.
of Buckle. And Austin Buckle is going to get it across the 35-yard line, and Badin is going to have good field position for drive number 2. Game on here in Centerville.
7-7, I'll tell you.
We're in danger of having a good football game here.
We've had a lot of running clocks this year. It's kind of nice to see,
a
competitive football game.
Yeah, our first game we called Monroe and Ross.
Right, you and I had Monroe and Ross, Dan.
That was the game of the week, and oh my goodness, that was a great game.
13-9, Monroe over Ross on the touchdown with less than 30 seconds left to go in that ball game. Best game we've had all year in terms of competition, that's for sure. Ritzy's got trips receivers to the right. This is going to be handoff to Russo up the middle, and Alter's defense finally makes a stop there. That's Schaefer, number 36.
There was a hand in the
Their leading ball carrier, also playing linebacker on defense.
There was a hand in the backfield that slowed this down, too.
2nd down and 8 for the Rams, who must reassert their dominance. They probably must think, because they were a little surprised. Alter came out and punched them back.
And it was just a long drive. It wasn't a fluke thing.
And they punched them slow.
That's right. That's the way that Alter always is, though.
Where to play.
Ritzy,
Nice
outside, complete.
Beautiful.
Cheek, 1st and 10 for the Rams. Dan, I saw a stat looking up, getting ready for this game. Alex Ritzy is completing over 70% of his passes through the first 6 games this season.
That's fabulous, and he's only a junior, so he's going to be back next year. And he's only going to get better. So that's scary for a lot of teams in the GCL.
That's fairly remarkable when you have Landon Vitterick go down with an injury and say, oh, my gosh, we got the sophomore that's never started a game, and here's the state semis. And now he's throwing over 70% completion percentage through 6 games. Bobbled snap. Ritzy's going to keep it and probably try to scramble.
And look at that.
He's got some room. And that's going to be a 1st and 10 across the 40-yard line, and Badin is in business again. Defense stopping either.
Yeah, I didn't envision this preparing for this game. I thought it'd be a 14-3, something like that. I didn't see 7-7.
Grudge match.
Yeah.
7-7 early.
That's right.
So a lot more points to be had possibly in this game. 1st and 10 for the Badin Rams at the Alter 39-yard line.
We're down to 3 minutes and 6 seconds ago here in the first quarter, 7-7.
Here at Centerville Stadium.
Elks, home of the Elks.
Home of the Elks. Ritzy's looking long for Braden Moore. It's complete.
He's got it, and it is a
waltz into the end zone for the Rams.
What an explosive offense Badin is showing today.
39-yard touchdown pass, right, Joel?
39-yard touchdown pass.
These are significant yardage on these plays. I mean, Badin had a little bit of
what was that? Was that a 5-play drive as opposed to a 2?
I mean, they worked to get a first down, and then boom, pop the cork, 39-yarder.
Alter's going to have to figure out what they're going to do on defense.
They're going to do the swinging gate here, move them, and now they're getting ready to do the conventional extra point. I always wonder, we have to ask the coach why they do that.
Yeah, at some point in time, we need to ask Coach Jordy. Extra point is up. Extra point is good.
Well,
I imagine, I'm going to guess there's a trick play that you can do in association with that and maybe do a 2-point, maybe. That's what I'm thinking, if they have to do it.
And they're probably going to set that up every single extra point all season long, never doing anything other than that, and then have something special for Chardon in the state final.
Speaking of Chardon, how is Chardon doing this year?
Chardon has lost once.
Oh, wow.
This is why the Badin Rams are actually first now in the state according to the Max Preps polls and the Yappy polls and that type of stuff for Division III.
Right.
Because of Chardon having one loss. But Chardon is first place in Division III Region 9 right now, even with their 5-1 record. Their loss was to a 5-1 team from Division II, Paynesville Riverside. And Chardon has followed up with a couple back-to-back wins in fairly convincing fashion. They are playing tonight on the road. Actually, take that back. They have a bye tonight. They're playing next week on the road. So a kick to Russ. Russ is going to return this from the 7-yard line. He's got some blocking across the 25-yard line. Wrapped up and tackled by Badin's Kai Samples Philpott. And so the wishbone will come back out. And make a wish, Ed Sites. I wish for another Alter touchdown, says he.
I'd like to say it's a bit early, but I think there's a distinctive advantage for Alter in one part of the game.
What are you seeing, Dad?
Place kicking.
Ah.
Strong leg.
Yeah.
Alter. Because his extra point was like past the end zone.
It was like a 40-yard extra point.
It looked plenty, and our kick went through. Well, we got a penalty.
Looks like
Our being Badin, correct?
Yes.
Offsides called against Alter, lining up in the neutral zone, probably on the wide receiver sheets there. And so it's going to be a 5-yard penalty.
It's no mistake, listeners. We are all Badin grads, so we will try and be
impartial.
Yes,
but
I always try to keep an objective broadcast. That's for sure.
And I'll have bruises on left and right side by the end of the broadcast. So I'll try my best.
From the ribbing of Dan and me.
Absolutely deserve every one of them.
Schaefer is going to take it up. There's your little handoff off guard. Not a lot of room there as Badin's defense collapses. 2nd down and about 13 for the Knights. And when you run a wishbone offense, Dan, you can't afford 5-yard penalties.
That is true. But as I said earlier, this Gavin Connor, he's only a sophomore and he's got over 600 yards passing this year. So I don't know if a lot of it was in mop-up. No, not really. Alder 4-2, so they're not coming from behind very often with that record.
They lost to Kettering Fairmont, first game of the season. That's a game they're not always used to losing, but the tide is turning in that rivalry. Connor is going to throw it. Beautiful timing pattern to Andy Duplain. That ball was thrown before Duplain turned around. That looked like one of the NFL highlights where you throw the ball
to a spot.
To a spot, the receiver sticks his foot in the ground, turns around, and there's the ball. How do you defend that?
Even a back shoulder throw.
Yes,
because he had to come back to retrieve it.
Yeah.
There was no way Badin could stop that.
I remember Bob Trumpy on Sports Talk. Now, that's a throwback name, right? Mm-hmm. He would always say, there's no defensing that play. And then my response was, well, Bob, why don't they run it every time then? Mm-hmm. But he'd always say, there's no defensing that play. Aggravated me.
But it's got to be thrown well, and it was.
3rd and short now for the Knights. Not enough for the first down on that pass play, but Alter's got room. This is going to be a keeper to Connor.
Oh!
To win the race to the outside. He is not caught.
It's
and
a
the ball
fumble.
pops loose, but the referee is going to call him down by contact. Resands alone, the one who wrapped him up, bottled him up, and was finally finished off, it looks like, by Caden Starks there for the Rams. And so Badin's defense, it was not easy, but they're going to have a hold.
They have their first stop.
Yeah.
And there could be also a difference between the two teams when it comes to conditioning. We're going to find out. If this continues as a trend, then Badin would be better conditioned.
Well, seeing 2 drives each.
Early
on. Here's the punt, almost blocked by the Rams, but it's going to be Braden Moore to return it. He does not fair catch it. Runs backwards.
Oh,
Flag.
there it is. Black in the back.
And this is going to cost Badin an immense amount of field position as Moore takes it out of bounds around the 50-yard line.
Take a look at the 28-yard line. There's the flag.
Yeah, it'll be a
block in the back.
Doing the math, it'll be a 22-yard penalty.
Yeah, they move it over to the 30, so it's going to go to the 20 there for Badin to start their next drive.
Okay.
No, the big difference I'm seeing through 2 drives each is that Badin has the big play ability that Alter does not have.
Right.
So it's one of those things. Badin may not stop Alter every time down the field, but if Badin continues to score each time they touch the ball, and if their defense can even stop Alter a half of the time or a third of the time, it's going to build up the lead and make Alter have to play from behind, which is something the Wishbone offense is ill-equipped to do.
Right, and that might lead to ill-advised throws and turnovers. So
Connor would have to play a lot more from the shotgun than Dome Zeitz would probably like.
Yeah, and then Badin could pin their ears back and rush the quarterback.
That's kind of how
crazy.
this game, in Yordy's mind, I'm sure, has to try to develop. 16 seconds left to go in the first quarter play. If they hand this off to Russo, this will be the last play of the quarter.
There you go.
And there it is, Russo. Up the middle.
7 yards.
Alter helmet goes flying.
Nice call there, Joel. You knew Badin was going to run that ball, didn't you?
Yeah, try to end the first quarter on a high note. And that is exactly what the Badin Rams are going to do. We have reached the end of one quarter up here in Centerville Stadium. And the Badin Rams have a 14-7 lead over the Alter Knights. Gentlemen, I will say it is cool being back here. Dan, you said this was your first time
Yes.
at Centerville.
I like it.
Badin has played Alter a few times here in the past, but that is not the most famous Badin game that has been played on this field here. Back in 2001, my junior year in high school, the Badin Rams won a playoff game on this field against the Oakwood Lumberjacks that went to 5 overtimes. 42-35, if memory serves me correctly, from 21 years ago, ending with a Ricky Pate interception in the south end zone down there.
And
grass field back then instead of field turf.
Sure, and the name Pate, you think of Badin. I think they have
football.
there's a Pate on the roster right now.
Dominic Pate, number
Yes.
10. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Ricky Pate was the quarterback for Badin and also played defense, and he was the one that came up with the big interception that won that game for the Badin Rams, sending Terry Malone to his very last regional final as a head coach, where they bowed out at Welcome Stadium on the blue turf the next week against the Coldwater Cavaliers. Obviously, Badin and Alter fans both know Coldwater very well. Both teams have run into the Cavaliers a few times in the playoffs in the past.
Yeah, Coldwater is so good that they're just cavalier about it.
They're up in Division 5 this
Yes.
year, as Marion Local is in Division 6
Let's see,
with
Joe.
Versailles.
We have 12 minutes left in the second quarter.
I reckon you're probably right.
12 minutes left.
First quarter score, Kettering Fairmont leads Miamisburg 3-0. Alter fans listening, you might be intrigued to hear that score. Though Fairmont beat Alter Week 1. They play each other that very first Thursday night at Roush Stadium in Week 1 every year. Alter has won more than their fair share of those games against the Division I public school. That tide has been turning the last few years, though, which is not great news for Alter as Fairmont, the Firebirds, build their program up here in the Kettering area at the public school.
Something's up on the field. There was a discussion between the Badin coach and the official. Now the teams are coming off the field for...
Badin has just taken their first time out, so there must have been something, communication crossed up. Rare to see that starting out a quarter by taking away one of your timeouts, but whatever it happened to be, Badin was not ready.
Joel, I was
go ahead, Dan.
talking to Neil on the way up here. I noticed that Badin is in Division 3 and Alter's in Division 4.
Yes.
Is this the first time that Alter's been in Division 4?
Alter has been in Division 4 in the past.
Okay.
The big deal is the competitive balance.
Okay.
And competitive balance basically is something that the OHSAA has done to try to throw a bone to some of the public schools who complain about Catholic schools being able to recruit from outside their geographic area while the public schools are all kind of landlocked within their district. We'll save that thought here for a 2nd and 3 play now.
I gotcha.
Coming out in quarter number 2 for Ritzy with Russo alongside of him. It's going to be a short throw to Braden Moore, Moore is going to burrow himself forward, enough for a first down. And Badin's third drive of the game, off to a very solid start.
Yeah, it's funny that you say short throw. They got 14 yards on that play.
Very controlled, though.
Yeah, it wasn't a 39-yard touchdown there.
No, it was not. Alter's keeping him in front. Turned twice over the top already.
I was wondering if Zach Taylor's watching this game because he could get a few pointers from Badin calling a timeout with 12 minutes left in the second quarter.
Ritzy. Another completed pass to Moore. Moore's got some room.
Wow.
Finally brought down and tackled. And hopefully Moore is okay. He's slow getting up there. Took a hard shot to the leg on the play. And Moore is going to stand up and be all right, it looks like.
I think he got the wind knocked out of him.
Little shaken up. Fell a little awkwardly there.
Yeah.
1st and 10 for the Rams, now across midfield.
Just my observation so far. It looks like the pass is there all day long.
Alter's having all kinds of problems.
Oh, and you can't pass on every down, but they'll intersperse a few runs just to keep it mixed up. But boy, Badin's passing machine, they're amazing.
Handoff to Russo. Speaking of mixing it up, Dan, he's off the left tackle. He's got 15 yards as he easily stumbles his way out of bounds. Just not a problem.
I wanted to mention.
Not a problem.
Moore came off the field just for one play. He's back.
Okay.
They probably took a look at him, get him a drink of water, and brought him right back.
Yeah, you were discussing. Sorry, Neil. You were discussing. Looks like Badin can score at will, and Alter's going to need a 12 to 15 play drive to do it. So this is a huge.
That's a huge advantage for Badin.
Yeah, well, obviously, and Alter needs to stop here to stay in the game.
Handoff up the middle to Yorty. Zach Yorty is going to get about 3 yards. Even a bad play for Badin is going to pick up 3.5 yards. And if you're averaging 3.5 yards a play, you're going to keep moving those chains pretty easily.
Zach Yorty, son of the coach, he's a junior and he's having a solid year. You can see him growing.
Yardage is the grease for the chains.
That's true.
There you go.
I like that. Poetic there, Dad.
Well, that's about all I can do up here. You guys have all the facts, figures, and statistics.
And Dad is poetry in motion.
And I'm just humor. Here we go.
Blinded me
Nice
with
pass.
Wide open.
Pass complete. That is to Buckle.
Love the play calling, too. There's just different.
Run pass. They don't know what's coming.
Thank you, Dan.
Very difficult to predict.
Yeah.
If you're Alter on defense, Badin can do so many things well.
This is almost like a cat playing with a mouse.
I think this team. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all.
I think this team is superior than last year's team because this team has a defense and a balanced offense. What do you think, Joel?
I mean, you can do so many things. Yorty up the middle, only about a yard. I mean, the last year's team made it all the way to the state final, so I'm sure last year's team is very, very beloved still in recent Badin lore.
Sure.
But, yeah, this team has a little bit, I think, more explosivity on the offensive end.
There you go.
Clark Kellogg would call that spurtability. Yes.
Clark Kellogg.
From
Go Buckeyes.
Basketball fame, yeah.
We talked about Coldwater earlier. End of the first quarter, the Coldwater Cavaliers lead the Blue Jays of Delphus St. John 6-0.
There's your long pass.
Braden Moore.
He had him,
that is the first incomplete pass thrown by Ritzy all game.
He had him there, too. He just overthrew him. Fortunate for Alter there.
Threw it on the run.
Yeah, he did. But he was rolling right, so fundamentally that's a good play. You don't want him rolling left, throwing
across
his
body. Absolutely.
Only John Elway can do that.
Let's see if Badin
and I bet he can't do it now.
Because they're at 3rd and long. I'd say their offense has been improving this year.
Badin's?
I
agree.
Definitely improving, and defense has been outstanding. Imagine if we got both sides of the ball going like this. It's going to be a great campaign this year.
3rd down and 9. And a flag thrown as we have some movement along the line. And the campaign is not even halfway over if Badin is able to make a deep run at this. This is game number 7. If Badin is to make it all the way back to the state final, it requires 16 games. a 10-game regular season and a 6-game playoffs now with the 16-team format per region.
You can tell.
3rd and 14.
Everyone makes the playoffs. It's like NHL hockey.
Oprah Winfrey, you get a playoff berth. You get a playoff berth.
You have one win this year, you're in the playoffs. Congratulations.
3rd down and long. Ritzy's going to look long.
No,
He's
overthrown.
Little
Oh,
overthrown, but I'll tell you what, that was closed in upon quickly by Braden Moore, who thought he had a shot at this. This might be no man's land for Badin here. I don't know if they're going to send out their kicker.
40-yard attempt if they try
This is
it.
going to be a long, it's going to be longer than 40. It's going to be about 45, 44.
Might be right at 40, though. The ball's
42, he's right.
43.
Okay, we're going to get it set.
And a whistle blows, and a timeout is taken by Badin.
Badin again.
So Yordi sent the kicker on. I don't know about a 42-yard field goal from the left hash. 43.
I would still think Alter's more capable of that than Badin.
Well, as well as Badin's defense plays, how about snapping it to the field goal kicker and letting him pooch punt it out of bounds inside
That's
the 10?
not a terrible idea, Dan. It
No.
really isn't. The other option
That's
have,
something my Detroit Lions should have done last week against Minnesota.
The
by
other
way.
option you have, I don't know if Nick Yordi has a hook and ladder in his playbook.
Ooh.
But I love a little short stop pattern for about 7 or 8 yards short of the chains. Let Alter try to rally around him and then pitch it to a man who's breaking off of him. I think the hook and ladder may be the most underutilized play in all of football because it always seems to surprise people, that pitch.
Now, being 3rd and 14, if Badin throws it, say, in the end zone and there's pass interference, it's a 15-yard penalty in high school, correct?
And not an automatic first down.
Oh, but it is 15, so they would get
15 yards. They would have enough because it's 4th and 14. And
Okay.
now Badin does reconsider and keep their offense on the field. Quad receivers to the right side. Look for a rollout potentially to the right. Ritzy, not a lot
He's
of
got
time.
him.
Hits the man for a touchdown.
Wow. And Ritzy got racked on that play. I respect that young man.
Quinn Brennan. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Ritzy knew he was going to get pummeled. He hung in there. He's a little sore right now.
Oh, no. Alter came in completely unblocked.
Jailbreak blitz.
Yes, it was.
What was amazing was, I think, some luck in this. I don't know.
It was
or Badin designs this play.
Yeah.
Say, let the outside come in, so we'll throw immediately up the middle. But I guess
You can just tell the way Ritzy
It
feels
works.
right now.
It
He's
works.
still sore.
it worked so perfectly for the setup.
And it looks like we have an extra point that is good.
And that one looked a lot healthier.
That was a game changer. I'll
Oh,
tell
my
you.
goodness. Circle that play in the score sheet.
Yeah,
On
I mean-
4th and 14.
That might be the cowbell play of the game.
Quinn Brennan, and he was uncovered.
Well, when you have quads to the right, I mean, how often do you see that? And then they had one receiver on the left, so it's kind of a run and shoot plus one. So they really had no one in the backfield to pass protect.
Kind of looked like Moses, just
Part of the
part of the defense left and right, and it was just a nice, beautiful corridor
It was impressive.
right down the middle.
He was the one, he ran the seam pattern from that quad formation. He was the one streaking up the middle from the right. And Ritzy hung in there, and, man, that was a fingertip catch.
Meanwhile, the scoreboard flashes "Go Elks." I don't know who they're rooting for, but that's okay.
Centerville, of course.
I know, but they're not on the field.
Well, I like the message that says Grandma's here because it's all here. You keep looking, you'll see it eventually.
Here's the
Here we
kickoff
go.
for
Ooh,
Rowan
nice.
Brown.
Nice kick.
And it's going to be fielded at the 3-yard line by Russ. He's going to try to take it upfield, and it's going to be stopped at the 15-yard line. Well, I'm sure Grandma is here, or whatever Grandma is here, because I want to give a shout-out to the Ultra Athletic Department. All tickets for tonight's game were cash.
Yes.
And not by a stupid smartphone having to scan a QR code to get you into the door.
You mean to tell me they're going to risk COVID transmission through dollar bills?
By collecting $10
Oh,
bills.
my.
All it takes to get in here tonight is show an Alexander Hamilton, and you're right. You're in. You know.
There you go.
Well, that's one-way cash then, Dan. No change. Of course, if you have a 20, you would have to give change.
Big fan of the cash door. That's for sure, because some of us don't have smartphones.
There you go.
Handoff, no fake handoff. Connor's going to try to throw it. This is more the situation that Badin's defense has wanted to get in, though.
Right.
Because now it really starts to work on Coach Domzeit's playbook. Alter, well, you got 9:11 left to go. And I'm sure Alter would love, if Coach Domzeit's could figure out a way to do this, they would love to bleed 9 minutes off the clock, put a touchdown in, and Alter would get the ball to start the third quarter.
Down by 7.
Down by 7. That would be the dream scenario for the Knights.
I agree, but that's why I'm surprised they threw the ball on first down. It was a kind of a trickery play, but it didn't work.
Shotgun formation. We're going to see more shotgun as this game goes on if it becomes a multiple-score game, and we have a flag for an illegal formation. So this is what happens when you're out of your vaunted wishbone that you're used to running. Now you got to try some different formations, and you may not line everybody up correctly all the time.
Yeah.
I particularly remember early on in the Dave Worth era. If you remember, Dave Worth was the second coach in the history of Badin High School. He was the one that replaced the retiring Terry Malone.
Which is a tough thing to do.
Oh, it's a very tough thing to do. Shotgun formation for Alter now. And the handoff, fake handoff, Connor keeps it. He's going to be met by Reese Anzalone for a limited gain only. But yes, Worth had to completely redo the offense because Badin had run the power T for 46 years.
Right.
They had run the power T since before there were girls at the school.
One of my memories of Badin running the power T, I forget which playoff game they were pummeled, and listening to the broadcasters, I think it was I'm not going to say it was Coldwater, but they were making fun of Badin running the power T without even looking at the history of Badin and how successful they were doing that. They just thought it was an antiquated offense.
Well, when Worth took over, they had to relearn or learn for the first time how to line up properly. Pass to Russ. It is complete.
Short, though.
He is short.
Wrapped up by Brennan, the man who actually, it looks like, is that 6 or is that 8? That might be Kai Samples. Number 8.
Joel, looks like it's going to bring up a 4th down and a yard, and there you go.
I'm surprised to see Alter bringing out the punt unit here.
I am too, just because they have not shown an ability to stop Badin at all, and I think their best defense is keeping their offense on the field at this
I agree
point.
with you, and I kind of also think the only way Alter has a real good chance to get back into this game is take all the time off the clock.
There it is.
And there is the fake punt.
And it didn't
and
go.
a horse collar tackle, and there's the flag.
Oh, my goodness.
Sammy Miller was the punter. He was brought down by the horse collar, and it was plain as day to me, at least, watching that thing. I fully expected that flag to get thrown.
Yes.
But wrapping up the point on Coach Worth, I remember like his second game they were playing Fenwick. Bill Tenor was coaching Fenwick at the time, coming into Virgil Swarm Stadium.
Future Badin coach.
Future Badin coach, that's right. And there were like 5 or 6 or maybe even as many as 10 illegal formation penalties on Badin in that game, just trying to figure out how to line up with multiple wide receivers out wide. That's an issue. So,
and you know what? Playing against those Terry Malone teams, you knew they were going to run it. They said, stop us. You're not going to. And they generally didn't. And that's disheartening. That's just macho, man-on-man, and just beat you up at the line of scrimmage. That's old school.
Alter Knights, I'm not surprised it was a fake punt. I don't know if Badin was caught off guard by that or not.
Well, they stopped him if they wouldn't have tackled him by the horse collar.
Exactly. Yep. Handoff can be wrapped up by Anzalone and company.
Nice drive at the end there, getting pushed forward by 5 Rams. He got 2 yards.
Royce Rachel also involved in the tackle there, as Alter's going to pick up a couple yards. Our clock dwindling down below 7 minutes left to go, and that's just how Coach Domzeit should like it. Always nice to see Alter. Had a lot of good memories. They were my senior night as a Badin Rams announcer back in high school, and they wrote me little thank you cards, whatever. At one point in time, Alter's soccer team invited me to come up to Kettering as a sophomore in high school to try to broadcast the game from their field there. Just a lot of good people in the Kettering Alter community. High regards from this play-by-play caster. As Connor is going to try to throw it, he's got protection, but he doesn't have a receiver open. Pass was intended for Rod Owens, the freshman. Covered by Ostendorf on the play.
We got to tell you, fans, where the freshman came from. Neil probably could describe it better than I. Where did the freshman come from, Neil?
I think it was college basketball.
Right.
And it was a guy named Jones.
Yes.
And the announcer, of course, was Marvelous Marv Albert.
Yes.
And he would say, Jones, the freshman.
Was his name Jelly Jones? I think that was his name.
Yeah,
from UC. Yeah, and he'd go, Jones, the freshman.
Yeah.
And that stuck with us 40 years later. It's
We laugh about all these things, folks. You may not be laughing on the air at all, but
well, we just got to tell you why we say things the way we
enjoy it.
do. And when the extra point is good, that's Al Michaels. And
Al Michaels
he pulled out a good last night in the Bengals game. Oh,
This
yes.
is very good.
step up in the pocket.
Connor's pass
Nice
intended
D.
for Russ and incomplete. And so now Alter probably does have to actually punt. It's going to be 4th down and 8.
But you're right, Joel. By doing that, they did take off a few extra precious clock time, and that's how they're going to have to stay in the game.
Unfortunately for Alter, unfortunately for Badin, Alter's real goal of that drive should have been working all of the clock down and scoring before the half. You're down by 14 if you're Alter, and now you're punting it back to the Rams offense, and your defense has shown no ability to stop them today.
And there's 6 minutes, 26 seconds left. Plenty of time.
Very short
Punt
punt.
for our Curry.
Ooh. Baden was fortunate there. The punt return squad did not. The ball bounced like 2 yards by the Baden player who didn't even realize the ball was there. It could have easily hit a ram, and that's the kind of stuff that Alder needs at this point.
I'm also just noticing our Curry was the punter on that play when he actually punted. It was Sammy Miller, the senior captain wide receiver, back there lined up at punter for the fake punt earlier.
Oh.
So if Badin was paying attention at all, they might have known it was fake by the fact that it wasn't a punter lined back up there to punt. Here's your signs. Film study. Film study.
Film reveals.
1st and 10 now for the Rams. No harm, no foul. They got it 6:17 left to go in the first half, and Baden's probably thinking about 2 scores now, not even 1, if they can get it, because they've been scoring quickly. Russo up the middle. Gain of about 3 yards. Good start to the drive for the Rams. Alter defense trying to hang in there.
That was similar to the first play of the game where Russo broke it for about 40, but Alter has seen it now a few times, so they can defend it better.
Yeah, they're definitely able to collapse on that better, but the downside is the better they're collapsing on that run, the more that's opening them and exposing them on the back half of their defense to the pass.
Yeah.
All 3 of Baden's touchdowns tonight have been over-the-top throws. A seam pattern,
You can
a fly
see.
pattern,
You're right.
a corner pattern.
Here's
Toss, jet sweep to Braden Moore. Had a steam,
And
he
a first
first down. Well, Dan, what would you do if you're Alter's defense right now?
that's
Pray.
a pray.
They're Alter. They
3 Our Fathers, 3 Hail Marys, and a Glory Be.
That's right. Come back and see me again next week.
Well, they did well on the running play. They gave up 3 yards, but then they ran an inside jet sweep. So Baden is versatile on offense. Wouldn't surprise me, a little play action here and a 30-yard pass down the field.
Here's the throw. Quick pass to Buckle. It is complete. Stuck by the defensive back, so not a lot of extra room there. I'm trying to get the Alter number of the man who wrapped him up out there. Is that number 2, it looks like? Justin Wooldridge.
And Woolridge has been involved in a number of plays.
Active defensively for the Alter Knights.
Could Baden be possibly trying to milk clock here? I mean,
was wondering
they've
that.
scored with such ease. I'm wondering if they're trying to slow it down so Alter won't get the ball before half.
Well, I think Baden could probably play this in one of 2 ways. I think they could try to score quickly or score slowly. There's a throw to Cheek. Cheek is going to be wrapped up by Russ, but not before he has a first down. If they do as you say, Dan, and try to drain the clock, they can try to go up 28-7 or 24-7 before the half, be up by 3 scores at halftime. That would be great for the Rams, I'm sure.
Right.
But because their offense has been so high scoring and so explosive, needing so little time to be able to get up and down the field, and you're wondering, if you get up by 3 scores, Alter almost has to throw the ball. Do you try to score quickly, pin Alter back, and see if you might even get 1 extra possession?
Well,
That's got to be the question on Yordy's mind.
What a great problem to have.
Great problem to have. They're playing very well.
Oh, yeah. But I've noticed these passes have been – here's the long one.
Ritzy looking for Braden Moore over the top, and he got him.
Touchdown, Rams.
That's easy.
The way Joel sounded reminded me of Joe Nuxall when Johnny Bench hit a home run so hard, he said, Bench swings and he's got 15. I mean, it was very anticlimactic. But you saw the arc of the pass look perfect, and Moore ran right underneath it. It was just a thing of beauty.
I've seen domination by Badin this year, but it's just hard for me to comprehend this is happening to Alter, okay?
Well, if you remember, Badin beat Alter last year 31-0.
That's right.
So this is domination not just for this year, but we're seeing multiple years now. And having been a lifelong Badin fan, coming up in many of these games, we've seen many, many Badin Alter games that were blowouts the opposite way during that 20-year streak where Alter absolutely dominated Badin.
Oh, yes.
So this is certainly something where it's a little bit of a turnabout as fair play for Alter, and it probably doesn't taste all that good.
And might I add, even though you guys have most of it, I'm still wanting to find out how the conditioning's looking on these two teams. Badin looks stronger. They look faster now. And as the game goes on, I'm wondering if that's going to just show up, because first touchdown, we were very impressed with Alter's first drive.
Oh, right. Yes.
But now it's like, things have gotten a lot more difficult. And Badin, they keep rolling.
Well, I wonder, too, though, I don't know that it's going to be the conditioning. I think it's going to be the fact of the margin of score and that making Alter play a style,
different style.
Kind of
they don't wish to play.
Like the panic will set in, so to speak.
I mean, you're down by 3 scores. You can't just take 9 minutes off the clock and run the wishbone like you could if you're leading or if you're tied or you're only down by 1 score.
That makes sense.
It plays to their weaknesses instead of their strengths. Russ catches it at the 11-yard line. Wall of Rams, nowhere for him to go at all. And he's only going to gain about 4 yards total on the return. And here it is. As we talked about, does Badin want to score quickly or score slowly? Alter now has the ball at their own 15-yard line with 4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, let's watch Badin's clock management here.
They only have one timeout.
Oh, they only have one. Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Remember the timeout with 12 minutes left.
That's right, to start the second quarter, not when you want to take one.
That was the most impressive timeout I've ever seen.
The Bengals would have been proud.
Bengals would have been proud.
Zach Taylor's good for a couple of those a game, I think, right?
Yeah. What? They burned another timeout?
They burned another one. Oh, boy.
I tell you a Zach Taylor story in a minute here.
1st and 10 now for the Knights. Back in their wishbone formation. Man goes in motion. This is your fullback dive or your double handoff. Up the middle. Looks like Schaefer is going to be on the carry, using the fullback as a lead blocker.
They had Zach Taylor's career record as a Bengal coach last night, and it was 14, 27, and 1. And I thought there is not a more secure NFL coach right now than a guy 13 games under 500.
Yeah, because forget just how bad Zach Taylor's record was.
He was horrible. And my friend,
a lot of injuries, mind you. It's not all his fault, but still.
Yeah, my friend Pat Lenahan from high school, big Bengals fan, he just said, my God, what'd they do? Hire the barber off of the Rams coach, McVay? I mean, this Taylor doesn't know anything. And then they caught lightning in a bottle last year.
Make it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the NFL, it's such a quarterback-driven league. You get a stud quarterback, and you can get hot. I mean, look at Eli Manning, the 2 Super Bowls he won.
That's true. Right?
I mean, that team was 9-7, his first team, and they were like a 5 or 6 seed in the playoffs, and they beat the mighty Patriots, the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm probably getting the Super Bowls mixed up. I know they beat Brady. The Giants did. And the Bengals
They beat Brady twice.
Twice, yeah.
They beat him twice. Eli Manning, by the way, lifetime career record as a starting quarterback, 118 wins, 118 losses, a perfect 50%.
Wow.
I bet his favorite game was the game against the Patriots where they were vying for the perfect season.
That's right. That's what Danny was chatting about. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Super Bowl 42, I believe it was.
I'm sure the 72 Dolphins sent Eli a gift pack after that Super Bowl because they
Joel,
always like to.
Is that Carter Sheets that was injured? I think he came
Number
off-
one?
Yeah, I believe it was
Yeah,
him.
we had an Alter injury on the field.
So he came off walking, which is good news.
Yes.
Always good to see that coming off the field. You never wish for injuries. It's kind of the life of the game a little bit. Handoff up the middle, gain about 3.
All right. So
they're
here,
running.
yeah.
Interesting they're running.
Well, it's 3rd and 5. So this is kind of a big play for Alder here. I mean, do they try and stay with the ground game, try and get 5, which is improbable, but it's what they do best is run.
I sense, Danny, they just don't want Badin to have football again.
Yeah, well
In the half, and they're just going to run it. Their objective is maybe not to score, but to just keep Badin from having the ball again.
Well, they're in a passing formation. We'll see what happens.
Defensive way of playing football.
Well, you'd like to be only down by 1 score instead
we got
of
a
3 doing
flag.
that.
Badin with the
I
sack.
think that may have actually been the quarterback that was down with the injury because I'm seeing direct snaps now
Okay.
to Noah Jones back there.
Oh, that's not good for Alder then.
There is a flag on the play.
I think it was offensive. I think it was an illegal procedure on the offense, so Baden's going to have a decision to make.
That's probably my fault. Sheets was walking off
Baden
the field.
declines it.
Sheets was walking off the field, but he was kind of limping. And I figured that might have been him.
Okay, so that sets up a 4th and 2. Baden declined the 5-yard penalty,
They want the down, and they want to get the ball back.
and the clock is running.
2.5 minutes. Plenty of time for Baden's offense. That's
Yeah,
not even
they
a
need
question.
about 24 seconds, I think.
I think they want the idea of going through a 2-minute offense and see what they can do with it. It's always good to practice.
Now Alder has 20 seconds on the play clock, and they snap it that early. You gotta let that up fumble.
We got a
And
moment.
Alder might have this.
They do, I believe.
Yeah.
Trying to see who came up with the ball for the Knights.
All right, on 3 guys. The ball was
Is on the ground.
Thank you, Dirk.
Joe Dorley, the sophomore, comes up with that ball for the Knights, number 10. And so Alter, after bleeding a good chunk of time off the clock, no harm, no foul. They've got the ball around midfield.
That's why they snapped it with 20 seconds to go on the play clock.
just
They
like
know
you
more
draw
than
it
I
up,
do.
Just the way they drew it up.
Just like you draw it up. Indeed.
Very fortunate. Okay, how many timeouts does Alter have? They have all 3 of
Alter
them.
has their full complement.
So they could even run it a couple times if they want to. Now
And it looks like they're going to, with a clock stopped,
Ooh, not a good time.
burn their first one.
burn.
So Alter with the Zach Taylor timeout.
Yeah, both teams have been a little disorganized more than you would like to be in week 7.
7.
Well, as Al Michaels would say, they're looking for a good play.
They're just
Any
looking
other
for it.
scores of interest out there, Joel?
I saw that Western Brown,
What can Brown do for you?
yes, Western Brown was tied with Clinton Massey 14-all going into the second quarter of that game.
And they are just behind Badin at number 2 in Division 3, Region 16 playoff rankings, correct?
Right, that's a team to keep an eye on, so to speak.
They can score at will. So at 14-14 is that's kind of shutting them down, actually.
Yeah, it's everything you probably want there. 1st and 10 for the Knights. Out of the shotgun formation now. Now they got to try to get some chunk plays here to see if they can put some points up. And again, the fullback back there playing quarterback. That is number 24, Noah Jones. So we hope that Gavin Connor is okay, but that has to be the injury, I would think.
Yeah, and
Number
that's
7 for Alter.
Yeah, that's very, very unfortunate for Alter because now they can't even throw the ball, having their quarterback out. So they're trying a little trickeration with the running game, which when you're in a hurry, it's not the best way to go.
Here's a score from Nippert Stadium. Mulder and Elder were playing each other, the top 2 teams in Division 1.
Yes.
You're wondering which one was going to be better. In the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter, Mulder leading Elder 42-7. Hello.
Big Mo.
Awesome. Coach Tim is happy.
And a false start on Alter. That's going to back them up 5 yards. Alter having a hard time without Connor in there on offense. This is going to be a painful second half if he's unable to go.
Unless Badin gets another, what do they need, Joel? 2 points. No, it's only 21-point lead.
Oh, let's not talk. Let's not
Let's
talk
not
running.
talk there yet.
Yeah, we don't want to go
We're
running
not there
clock.
yet.
Well, that would ease some of the pain.
Oh,
A faster.
It would
take
be
a little bit of the edge off.
It would take the pain. It would make painful for us to call a running clock.
we
Yeah, I
got to
hate
come
running
up.
clock.
No, we're not.
Oh,
Noah Jones chased down from behind. Off
Almost
the hands of
accepted.
Braden Moore, it looks like, on the defense, but it's going to hit the turf for an incomplete pass. It's going to stop the clock at 1 minute and 19 seconds left to go.
I was by no means rooting for a running clock.
Oh,
I know you weren't.
Just looking for a way to soothe the pain that's going on.
Yeah, well, as Carly Simon said, we haven't got time for the pain there.
that's the way I always heard it should be.
You're so vain, Joel. All right, here we go.
Timeout.
1:19 to go. Interesting. Badin does have a timeout here. Now, if you're Coach Yordy in this situation, Alter obviously third down and was that 17? Here's what I do if I'm Alter. I find the kid that can throw the ball the best besides the starting quarterback who can't play. I don't care who it is. Whoever has the best arm on the team, I do trips. I throw it deep or do you run the ball? And Baden's going to probably stop the clock here if it's a running clock to get the ball back.
We're going to have no timeout actually taken by Alter there. It's going to be an injured player instead dealing with.
And I saw the referee Dan pointing toward Alter, so it wouldn't have been a Baden timeout anyway.
All right.
Baden does have one
they
remaining.
Still have the
4 wideouts. They might throw it here.
Let's see what they can do with it.
Looks like Noah Jones' pass is going to be complete. That's to Russ. Russ is going to be wrapped up, and we'll see if Yordy takes his timeout.
The clock is running.
And he does take his timeout with 1:06 remaining in the first half. Badin wants the ball one more time, and I can't say as I blame them. They've been darn effective about everything they've tried tonight, gentlemen.
If they can field the punt correctly here, they will have a chance. So we'll see.
Springfield leads Springboro 20-0. A battle of one-loss teams in the G-Walk up here in the Kettering area tonight. Alter fans, I'm sure, keep track of the G-Walk the same way Badin fans would keep a little ear out for the GMC, big public school Division I conference in the area.
Chris Berman would be saying, G-Walk. Love it when he goes, the G-Man.
Trotwood Madison leads Ponitz Tech 22-0. Alter's got to be throwing up a little bit for losing that game to Trotwood a couple weeks ago. That was the game. Fairmont beat you, but the Trotwood game was a game that they had multiple score lead in the second half. Let the Trotwood Madison Rams back into the game, and that would have been worth some good points for Alter had they been able to pull that one off. But instead, at 5-1, the Knights are 4-2, still respectable, but not as many points as they would have liked to have gotten.
They are 5th in their region, though, so they're definitely.
It's there to be had.
Short punt.
And they're not going to get any points out of tonight's game if they're unable to come back and pull this thing off with the backup quarterback. But Alter, assuming that they're healthy, and again, we'll see what happens.
You got to love that.
Games against other conference opponents coming up.
You got to love that clock management here. Must be an Alter guy. The clock's still running, guys. Look at it. They just ran off 7 more seconds.
A couple seconds off.
Oh,
change of possession.
No, but no one. Okay, I'll explain it to you. Okay, there is a stoppage in play. There was 57 seconds left.
Right.
And the clock was stopped, and they let 3 go off, down to 54, and then suddenly they let 2.5 more go. So it's down to 51. So that's 6 seconds.
Strange.
I think it is, maybe.
Possession was definitely changed. It's
no doubt.
57.
Ritzy's going to look long. Flag thrown. Pass is going to be complete if it stands, but it's probably not going to. I would imagine you're going to have a hold along the offensive line.
When you see the flag behind the line of scrimmage.
Throw is complete to Brennan, but it's all going to be for naught.
And they only had one receiver out there running deep, and he caught it easily. So,
well, Alter was very much concerned about not letting him over the top.
Right.
Brennan ran about 20 yards down the field, stuck his foot in the ground, came right back, and made a fairly easy, uncontested grab.
So this kind of really puts a thorn in the Badin drive. You're going to be
Stay with us, folks, after you get something to eat for halftime, because we're going to take you through some local scores. We're going to take you through some playoff talk. We got the best halftime show around.
We are commercial free as always.
Yes, commercial free. Sponsored by nobody. here just for you.
He's going deep.
Ritzy wants to get cheek.
Ooh.
Possibly flag. No flag thrown. The Badin coaches to the right of us in the booth next door would have liked to have seen a flag thrown. There appeared to be a little bit of contact, but not too serious.
Kind of ticky-tack.
It would have been a ticky-tack call, but potentially a good one. I'd be curious to see the replay on that one, I would think. Second and really long.
Down to 40 seconds as the scoreboard says, go Elks.
Yes, this is truly called Elk Stadium here in Centerville.
Yeah, Centerville Stadium, yeah.
Elks Stadium. Elk Stadium, I mean.
All
I
right.
guess that's plural, Elk.
Elks, yeah. There's a handoff up the middle. It looks like Badin might be content now to run this thing into halftime.
And Alter's saying, we're not going to stop it either.
Yeah, Alter's more than happy to run this thing into halftime. This game has been
And
a little more lopsided than Alter would have liked, and of course we hope the quarterback's all right.
Baden's already starting to trot off the field from the sideline. So this is it, guys.
And
Coming
now
up.
the referee has mentioned, and Alter has taken their second time out.
Wow.
This is interesting. All right.
Okay, let's see if Yordi has a trick play up his sleeve here.
He may make them want to pay.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're going to try to chuck it deep.
I want
on
to see.
this.
Yeah, I'd like to see something in retaliation of a.
Yeah, you know, both teams look like they're
Well,
going into halftime
Okay,
and not.
it's third and, 20, folks? Now, what was the fourth down touchdown?
It's 4th and 14.
4th and 14. So they can get 20. They got 14 early.
Well, Badin does not have any timeouts left.
Right.
They're either going to get the first down here or they're not. If they're stopped and the clock stops, they'll have to punt. There's 21 seconds left. If they get the first down, the clock will pause. They can spike the ball, line up whatever they want to, and continue. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. And Alter still has one timeout left as well if they would like to maybe have a punt return off of this
We're
thing.
really all set up for the possibility of a 76-yard touchdown.
Oh, Neil.
Oh, boy.
Think positive. Oh,
They're going to hand it to Russo instead.
That's going to do it. Okay.
That's not going to do it if Alter takes the timeout, and they are going to.
There you go.
Dome Sides wants the punt return or a possible punt block. That's what they're shooting for right here. So that's
Okay.
the last timeout of the half for both teams. 15 seconds remaining.
4th and 8, so we're
Reese
going to...
Anzalone's going to come on the field for Badin.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the Rocky movie. It's toward the end of the match.
Yeah.
Apollo Creed knocks him down.
Yeah.
He thinks he's finally got him down, and Rocky gets back up. And you see him drop his gloves in his head like, are you kidding me?
Really?
I was going to head to the locker room here. So to speak.
But unlike Rocky and the Rocky where Rocky wins, I don't necessarily know if Alter can come back and win this.
Oh, no, Rocky lost.
Oh, that was Rocky
First
1.
one, yeah.
First movie.
Okay. That's the only fight he ever
Danny,
lost,
no
right?
matter what you said, I couldn't be wrong on that.
Yes.
Fair
Fair
catch.
catch.
There, that's a good idea.
That's going to be
Stops it.
Colin Wayner back deep to fair catch it. But
Okay.
after all that, Alter's left with the ball and only 10 seconds left. So
Well, Alter
eh,
must... Do you think Alter has a trick play up their sleeve, guys?
they might try.
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
Now's the time for your hook and ladder, Joe.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tippecanoe at halftime leads Troy 21-7. Tippecanoe, one of those teams kind of hot on Badin's heels in Division III. And so we'll see what Alter does with this opportunity here.
Danny, I did zoom this camera early on.
Yeah.
I think I got it somewhere where it's pretty decent.
That's good.
You can get a little more on your screen, folks.
How's Mount St. Mary's, the Rough Riders? How they doing?
St. Mary's Memorial?
Yeah, that's it.
I've not seen their score yet tonight.
Okay, all right, one of my favorite teams.
Out the middle,
Interesting call.
unable to get anything out of it, and neither team having any timeouts left. They're going to drain this sucker into halftime.
I guess Alter just wanted a 4-yard running play there.
Well, see if you can pop it, see
Yeah.
what happens, right? You
That's
never
right.
know if this is the one that happens to pop. So
Maybe they were hoping for Badin that would do more of a blanket downfield coverage and have lots of room to run. And then set up maybe that hook and ladder. Who knows?
Well, we are at halftime here in Elk Stadium. Go Elks! It is
Centerville
Badin.
Stadium, gentlemen.
Yes,
Centerville
yes.
Stadium.
28-7. The Badin Rams over the Alter Knights. I would say pretty good domination on Badin's part.
This is what you want from the Rams. I mean, Alter Alter had a very good first drive. They
Yes.
responded to Badin well, didn't back down, but Badin has kind of taken a lot more control of this game as we've moved along.
Yeah, they kind of put their foot down and established it.
So here we go. Looking
right.
at some halftime scores from some other games. And we'll take you through everything in Butler County, and we'll take you through the second level points games as well. So, here we go. First of all, Arvie Crouch, once again, putting up some defense. He and Fairfield were tied at nothing at the end of the first quarter, but Coach Jason Krause's kids have put 3 scores on the board in the second. So the Fairfield Indians have a 17-7 lead over the Hamilton Big Blue as Arvie tries to get another conference win. They've just had a hard time getting their offense going, Dan.
And Joel, Arvie Crouch, I never can say his name right. Anyway, he and Yordi coached together at Mount Healthy, is that correct?
Yes, they did.
And interesting news for Badin fans and Hamilton fans in general, little things going to happen on the schedule next year. What's that going to be, Joel?
Oh, yeah, Badin and Hamilton High are
Yes.
going to play against each other next year in Week 1. So
Week
it'll be
1.
Neat to see those two matching up. For the you Alter fans that happen to be tuned in, that's very similar to your Alter versus Kettering Fairmont game that happens in Week 1 up here every
Yes.
year. That game at Roush Stadium every single season. Badin and Hamilton now slated to play each other in Week 1 back at Virgil Schwarm. next
Right,
year.
and you, I think Fairfield and Hamilton played once in your lifetime. What year was that? Do you remember?
Fairfield and Hamilton
I'm
play
sorry,
every year.
Badin.
They
Badin
played
and Ham-
twice, actually, in
Badin
my
and Hamilton
lifetime.
did.
My freshman, my sophomore year. That
Okay.
would have been fall of '99 and fall of 2000. Hamilton High absolutely ran Badin off the field my freshman year.
Right.
Sophomore year, Badin ended up winning that game.
Okay.
I think Tommy Puma might have a 50-yard field goal in that game.
Okay.
So
And then
Yeah.
when I went to high school back in 80,
that was your Fairfield-Badin rivalry, right?
that was Fairfield Badin, but Hamilton did play Badin. And,
Was that Hamilton or was that Taft or Garfield?
no, that was Hamilton.
Okay, we were
yeah,
combined
that was
at that
Hamilton.
point.
That was the 81, yes. And Badin did get to play Hamilton a couple years in a row. Badin won both games.
It's been a while since
So
fall of
Badin's won
2000
3 out of the
Badin and
last
Hamilton.
4 games in 40 years.
It's been a while since they've played.
Yeah.
Lakota West,
There you
they're
go.
in a scrap tonight. Brian Kastner and his Mason Comets have always played defense, and Mason has this game very much to their liking. I mean, if Alter does not like how the score is being played stylistically, it is not to their liking. I would think that Mason, on the opposite end of that, has to be very pleased to have a 10-7 ball game against Coach Bolden and the Firebirds down there in Westchester tonight. Lakota East, they got a 7-0 lead at the half over Sycamore. Sycamore has not won a game yet. They appear to be the doormats of the GMC. Lakota East wants to make the playoffs. They've not had an playoffs. They've not had an easy time of it. This is a winnable game. Be good for them to be able to get this in the win column for Coach Haynes.
Yes.
Here's a score.
Wow.
Coleraine Cardinals, how far have they fallen? They're playing in Middletown tonight. Don Simpson's Middies have a 20-12 lead over the Cardinals down there in Coleraine at the Cardinals' nest.
I can't tell you the last time Middletown beat Coleraine. Maybe somebody could tweet us. It's been a while.
Coleraine had gone years without losing a conference game. They were terrifying in the GMC, a step above everybody else, and that has basically gone by the wayside as Coleraine on the very tail end of the Division I playoff picture right now, and Middletown, I believe, is a spot ahead of them at this moment in time. Middletown, of course, will pull even farther ahead of them if they're able to win this game over the Cardinals tonight. Edgewood Cougars having no problems at Coomler Field. They're going to try to grab 16.5 second level points tonight by beating the Northwest Knights. This is not a good score for Alter because Alter beat Northwest earlier this year, so Alter would have gotten 6 second level points if Northwest would have been able to win tonight, but so far not looking good for either Knights tonight, Alter or Northwest. The Ross Rams, 21-0 lead over the Brave, just one Brave from Talawanda. Badin, this is good for you because Badin beat Ross earlier this year, so assuming Ross wins this game, 6 second level points will be added to Badin's column, courtesy of their friends at Ross.
Rams are sticking together.
Monroe Hornets, they don't care who wins Ross or Talawanda because they beat both of them in weeks 1 and 2. They're going to get 6 points from that game either way. They're playing the Franklin Wildcats. They had a 7-0 lead in the first quarter, last we had seen on Twitter from that game. Bellbrook Golden Eagles have gone to Madison, the big heart of Madison, right? Of Middletown. They're leading 21-0. Golden Eagles are third right now in Badin's region, right between Western Brown and Tippecanoe.
I like Madison's facilities. That's a first-class place there, isn't it?
Beautiful place to watch a game. We had them in Eaton last week.
Yes, we did. It was
Same
great.
color scheme tonight with Madison again wearing their reds against another white-jerseyed, gold and purple-clad team. This is Bellbrook in the Southwestern Buckeye League. Bellbrook not going to get a lot of points from this game, but it will help out Tippecanoe because Tippecanoe beat Bellbrook earlier this year. Not seen any score yet from the Village at Mara Field. They were playing the former Indians, now known as the Nighthawks of Cincinnati Country Day.
What is a Nighthawk?
It's a hawk that apparently comes alive at night, I guess. But it's nothing. Well, I don't know what it is. We've just not seen a score on Twitter yet, so we've not been able to update.
I heard there's a society out there that was protesting against the Miami Redhawks because they were saying that is a fictional bird and there's no such thing as a Redhawk, and it does not accurately represent the bird.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people in this world that have a lot of things to gripe about. I would think there's a lot better things to gripe about.
Are they going to go back to the Redskins is the question.
Ask Anderson. We'll see what happens.
Wapakoneta still goes with it, and so does St. Henry up north. Halftime score looking in the GCL co-ed. This is a matter of, for Alter, do you want your points now or do you want your points later? Alter beat McNicholas last week. Fenwick is leading 7-3 at halftime down at Penn Station Stadium in Paradise on the east side of Cincinnati.
Now, McNick's a good passing team. I believe their quarterback is number 1 in the GCL in passing.
Probably after Ritzy. He has to be after Ritzy, doesn't he?
I'll get you
print that off earlier
I did
tonight?
print it. I'll look.
I got to think Ritzy is number 1 on the GCL co-ed in passing, and maybe McNick might be number 2.
I will find that, folks, but what I'm saying is McNick can be dangerous for anyone if they can throw the ball according to the stats I thought I read earlier tonight.
Alter controlled that game pretty well last week. If McNick comes back and wins that game, 5 second-level points for Alter, and it might be their best news of the evening. If not, don't worry about it because those points will be attached to Fenwick later on. Badin and Alter will both play Fenwick later on this season for a chance to earn those points in that game. Before halftime at Glass Stadium in Dayton, Chaminade Julienne with a 35-7 lead over the Carroll Patriots. Carroll might be the doormat of the GCL co-ed, and all the GCL teams are just thrilled that Carroll was able to find a way to come back from down 24-0 to Talawanda, because that's 6 more points that everybody's going to get now when they play Carroll if they inevitably beat the Patriots. Patriots not providing much of an obstacle to CJ after losing 42-0 to Badin last week. Okay, I see what you're saying here. Braden Bobo of McNicholas had a 6-yard lead over Alex Ritzy coming into tonight's game for the passing stats in
that's
the GCL
impressive.
co-ed. Now, I will also say this, though. McNick has got 3 points on the board tonight against Fenwick. Badin has had 4 touchdowns, and they've all been deep pass plays.
Okay.
I'm guessing Ritzy's going to be number 1 after the game's tonight.
Okay, well, before tonight, McNicholas was number 1 in passing. Okay.
How about it? Braden Bobo. Good for him. We'll see him later on. Badin plays them in Week 10. Saturday game up in Cleveland. Badin fans care about this one. Villa Angela St. Joseph is 5-1. After losing to Badin up there at Case Western Week 1. Dad, you were there with me. VASJ has not lost another game since.
Wow.
Villa Angela St. Joseph with a 5-run record is 15th in their region because every team they've beaten continues to lose and lose and lose. So they are beating up on some terrible opponents, Villa Angela St. Joseph.
But to quote Sam Weish, you don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
Exactly.
That's right. Remember that.
Villa Angela St. Joseph doing far more to actually help Badin than they are to help themselves, based on these teams that they're beating.
And you got to give Badin credit for driving all the way up to Cleveland and and getting that game.
That's a 4-hour drive one way, and it might get you an extra home game. And what else? It's
well worth
And
the
you
drive.
guys did that game. That's the only outlet you could get that game was it from the Badin,
was from us.
Yes,
That's right.
Butler
Poor
County
guys
High
had to
School
deal with
Sports Report.
Dad and me. Yes. Halftime score: the Dover Tornadoes.
Wow.
6-6 with St. Francis de Sales. A couple of missed extra points in that game. Stallions with a defensive pick six.
That is an impressive logo for Dover there. It's like a Detroit Tiger D, the Old English D with a tornado in the middle of it. I like that. Did you make that, or is that
That is their official logo. I didn't make any of these logos.
That's
Dan.
that's
This is their
impressive.
logos.
That's
Yes.
impressive.
The tornado is behind the D.
Oh,
And what direction is the tornado going?
that's a good question.
Gonna
Counterclockwise.
pass. I will stop
Well,
right there.
isn't there a song about the winds of Dover or something like that?
It's the White Cliffs of
White
Dover.
Cliffs.
White Cliffs. Yeah, that's not the winds, is
It's
it?
not the Winds. It's the White
Okay.
Cliffs of Dover. The
Well,
White Stallions of St. Francis.
They
de
should have been
Sales.
the Cliffs, Dover.
Trying to find a way to win a game for Badin tonight. It would give them some second-level points if the Stallions can pull that out in the second half. Halftime score from Stargell Stadium. Withrow had a 28-0 lead over Aiken, and that game has now gone to the end of the third. Withrow is now out of the field goal, so we can't update this once we start the slideshow here. Withrow actually now 31-0 over the Falcons. Badin is going to get 6 second-level points from that game. No problem tonight from Stargell Stadium. Halftime down at Braun Basovich. The Roger Bacon Spartans have a 14-7 lead over CHCA. CHCA has only won one game so far this year. They've been a shadow of who they normally are. This is a very winnable game for Roger Bacon, and another 4.5 second-level points for Badin if the Spartans can
Now look at.
pull this off.
Sorry to interrupt you. Look at Roger Bacon's logo there. Can people see this on the?
Yes, they can see this.
Look at that logo. Wouldn't that have looked beautiful on the Washington former Redskins helmet? Wouldn't that look
Ooh,
great? Yeah. No one gets offended by a Spartan.
By a Spartan.
Yeah, and they could keep the same colors and everything.
Well, here's what I want to know. There's so much.
What is a commander?
There's so much ancient Greece all over the place. Why is everybody from ancient Greece the Spartans? Go different. Be the Corinthians or the Thebians or the
How about-
Athenians.
How about the Cyclops?
The Cyclops. There you go.
Is that Greek?
Anybody
mythology?
listening out there from Walnut Hills, okay? The Cincinnati Public School District that is all books, and they were on a massive losing streak for years, and their people in the press box said, yeah, our kids hit the books too much. We'd like them to get actually out there and practice a little bit too. Go with the Athenians. That'd be awesome. The Walnut Hills Athenians would be really cool.
That would be cool.
Final score from last night. Alter's had some bad news this weekend from Welcome Stadium. Alter had beaten Thurgood Marshall earlier this year. The Belmont Bison pulled that off last night and beat the Cougars of Thurgood Marshall, so no second-level points for Alter there. And Wednesday night's game, the Dunbar Wolverines. This is going to help Ross out, but Alter beat Meadowdale earlier this year, so no second-level points for the Knights there. So we'll go to Alter first since we're talking about this. This is the Division 4 ratings. And if we always say if you are tuned in at this point in time and you have a big screen TV or a big screen computer or whatever, go ahead and go full screen so you can see this eye chart. Alter, Danny, you are correct, is on the number 5 line coming into tonight.
Right.
But this is looking like a very poor night for Alter altogether. Not only are they losing 28-7 to a tough Badin Rams team at halftime, Badin would be worth 34 points for Alter if they won that game tonight. Alter only has 42 second-level points from everybody they've beaten all year long.
Wow.
It would almost double their total if they could come back and win this game in the second half, but they're down by 21, and they're down their quarterback. This is not going to be a good night to be an Alter night, but if you look, the two dark blue fill-ins already are for Meadowdale and for Thurgood Marshall. Both of them opportunities to give points to Alter. The last two nights at Welcome Stadium, neither one of them came through for them. You see Northwest in the 5 column there with 6 points. They're down by 4 scores at Kumler Field right now. So they're not going to give Alter
So
any
are the
points.
teams behind Alter, are they winning so they can leapfrog Alter, assuming Alter loses tonight?
I've not seen a score from Urbana on the 6th line. Urbana is playing winless Indian Lake tonight. I assume that
yeah.
Urbana will win that game and will probably pass Alter. Taft is playing Western Hills. That's a game worth 19.5 second-level points for the Senators. If Taft should win that game, they're going to pass Alter no problem tonight. Reading is playing against Finneytown tonight. Well, I wonder if Ron Salerno's at that game. I don't know, but that would be a potential for Reading. Finneytown is only going to give them 3.5 points, but if they can also get wins from potentially Summit Country Day or Deer Park, that might give them some points as well, as teams are trying to come up from behind.
So Alter might slip in the region and lose. So that's tough.
Alter's looking bad tonight, but also not getting any help from anybody tonight. Look for Alter to be around the 7 or 8 line probably at night's end, with the possibility of some upsets. Maybe McLean is playing Washington. You see Eaton on the 10 line playing Brookville. Both of those games worth in the 20s in terms of points. Dad, you had something you wanted to add.
I just wanted to send a call out to Ron Salerno since we mentioned his name. Ron's on the chain gang
for Finneytown.
And he did lose his father.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Last week, so that the Mass, Christian burial, etc., was Monday, I believe, this week. So thoughts and prayers with Ron and his family.
Ron not working the chains probably tonight because Reading is actually at home for that game. Finneytown on the road. Looking at Division 3, this is Badin, where you guys are. Badin is on the number 1 line with Western Brown nipping at their heels. Right behind them, Western Brown plays Clinton Massey tonight, and they are in a dogfight. Last time I saw a score in that game, halftime score, Western Brown is leading Clinton Massey 29-20. Clinton Massey having a down year, but putting up a heck of a fight against the Broncos right now. Badin and Western Brown will be a fun playoff game to watch because Western Brown scores a ton of points. Clinton Massey has held them to 29 at halftime. Western Brown scores over 50 routinely. But the win over Alter, if Badin's able to hang on and get this, is worth 22 second-level points. So Alter is still worth a pretty penny.
They're going to fortify, and Badin will fortify and cement their position at number 1. They'll pull away.
Well, if you look at the other scores, too, Ross is going to give them 6 more. They're up 21-0 already. Roger Bacon can give them 5 more. I said 4.5 earlier. Correction, CHCA is now a Division 4 school. They've been moved up. So that will be worth 5 points for Badin if Roger Bacon can hang on to that 7-point lead down at Braun Basovich. Withrow is going to give them 6 points. That's going to happen. They're already up 31-0 at the end of the third quarter. Columbus St. Francis de Sales, they might still be able to give Badin 6 points. That game was 6-6 at halftime. And looking at week 1 opponent, Villa Angela St. Joseph, if they're able to win over a 2-4 Columbus Bishop Hartley squad, that game tomorrow up in Cleveland. Lots of points available for Badin on the board. This could be a really good night to be a Badin Ram, not just in terms of potentially beating Alter, but being able to pull out lots of second-level points out of this. Badin right now has 97 second-level points on the year. Speaking of second-level points, and lots of them, you want to look at Division I real quickly?
Sure.
Take a look at Moeller. Moeller has 123.5 second-level points already on the season.
Moeller's schedule's tough.
They are now beating Elder by 35 points at halftime.
Wow, where's Elder at on that?
Elder's number 2.
Oh my goodness! so in that rankings, it's just Moeller, and then you jump off a cliff, and there's Alter second.
Moeller is going to add 32 second-level points into that column that already has 123.5 into it. Then you look at who else is playing tonight. Massillon Washington is 5-1. They've got a Division I opponent that's worth 6.5 points. Trinity, Kentucky, they're 3-3. They're worth 6.5 tonight. East Central Indiana, they're 5-1. They're worth 6 points tonight. Our Lady of Good Counsel of Maryland, they're worth 6 points. They're 4-1 on the season. That's 3 opponents there of their first 4 they've played that are one-loss teams, with their only losses being to Moeller. So this is why anybody listening that's like, oh my gosh, Lakota West might be the best team in this region. They might be. Coach Bolden has got a very tough team at Lakota West. There is no way in the world they are going to be able to pull together enough points to overtake Moeller.
I like to know where the neutral site was when Moeller played Our Lady of Good Counsel. It's a Maryland school.
Ironton.
They played in Ironton.
They played in Ironton at a historic
I knew you'd
stadium
know that.
over there. Yes.
Wow. Ironton, what a traditional power that school is.
And Moeller, after they beat Elder tonight, and they will beat Elder tonight, has back-to-back Cleveland opponents, one here, one there. They've got Cleveland St. Ignatius and Lakewood St. Edwards. Both of those games north of 25 points. I mean, Moeller is just racking up.
And then they're
points.
playing Detroit King to end the season.
Martin Luther King of Detroit. They went up there to Detroit, Michigan last year. Detroit, Martin Luther King is playing down here this year, week 10 on the season. Elder, okay, they're going to lose to Moeller. That's 37 points that they're not going to get. They'll slip a bit, but they've got undefeated Indianapolis Roncalli next week. 36 more points up for grabs. This is the GCL South button at work. It's just never a dull moment. You have all kinds of opportunities to put up all kinds of points, and these GMC schools just can't possibly keep up when they play a 9-game conference schedule.
And Moeller will be so battle-tested going in the playoffs. I mean, the first couple playoff games that they play will almost be like scrimmages to Moeller.
No doubt about it. Looking at Division II real quickly before we get ready to start the second half of play. The teams are stretching and getting ready to come on the field in a couple of minutes here. Xenia is very far ahead in the Division II #1 spot. You look at Edgewood; they are sandwiched very tightly in between Kings and Winton Woods right now. Kings and Winton Woods are playing against each other tonight, so the winner of that game is going to be handsomely rewarded and will stay healthily above Edgewood.
Well, yeah,
the loser will be behind Edgewood.
We called a Kings game. I think they played Middletown.
They did a couple years,
a couple years ago. I don't know how.
Ty Stilsky was their running back. It was wonderful.
Oh, he was tremendous.
But Edgewood, they'll beat Northwest tonight. They're up by 4 scores already. It's worth 16.5 points to them. Good for Edgewood. They're going to hang right there in that 3 line. No one's going to challenge them yet. Going to get a little tougher, though. 2 of the last 3 games are Talawanda and Harrison. Those are not strong opponents. 1 win apiece. As the gentlemen have come back onto the field now, and we're getting ready to start quarter number 3 here from Centerville Stadium in Centerville.
Sorry, I keep calling it Elks Stadium. It says Elks right in the middle.
Home of the Elks.
Looks like the Chicago Bears logo if you have blurry vision.
Centerville, see, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have returned.
The Kelks.
The Kelks.
I went down.
That's an old tribe. The Kelks. Celtic.
About ready to quote.
Go ahead, Neil.
A line again from our favorite movies, Gettysburg. I got up those steps from being down
It's a steep
ground
climb,
level.
sir.
That is some climb, sir.
Yes, it is. Rowan Brown's kick is to Russ, and Russ has got a bit of a seam. He's going to be wrapped up and tackled by Connor Wright of the Rams. And so Alter will start off down by 21 here in the third quarter with pretty good field position. Joel Sackenheim, Neil Sackenheim, Dr. Dan Vogt, glad that you guys decided to spend your evening with us if you couldn't make the trip all the way up to Centerville.
Badin has a pretty good draw over there. This is a huge stadium, I'll tell you that.
It's enormous. This is a Division I sized school. No doubt about it. And they got plenty of seating capacity here. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Badin's section is not as big as I might have thought, actually. Quick pass. That is into the arms of Sheets. And Sheets is going to gain about 3 yards there for Alter. It's going to be 2nd down and 7 now for the Knights.
And it looks like Alter's quarterback, Gavin Connor, is still not out there. So it must be a substantial injury.
Yeah, definitely not something that Alter would like. I mean, regardless of tonight's game and the status here,
right?
You need your quarterback. You got games against Fenwick and CJ coming up on the schedule.
And Gavin's only a sophomore, so he'll be back, 2 more years. So obviously they thought enough of the young man to, give him the starting quarterback position over a junior or senior on the roster.
2nd down, Alter in the shotgun formation. Definitely not the most comfortable. It's going to be a run up the middle for the fullback playing quarterback. That is Noah Jones. Trying to fill in admirably for his fallen comrade there. It's going to be 3rd down and 4 now for the Knights. Under 11 minutes left to go here in the third quarter. It's pretty much been all Badin tonight.
Yeah, here. What do you call here if you're Alter? 3rd and 4. You try and get 3 yards and go for it on 4th. You do something out of your element and have the backup fullback throw the ball. What do you think, Joel?
I like a read option.
Okay.
try to keep it on the ground a little bit, but they're going to try to throw it for Jones. It's going to be an incomplete pass intended for Ethan Willits. And it looks like Alter is going to very meekly punt the ball away.
Yeah,
quietly.
Yeah, he threw it 100 miles an hour there on that six-yard pass.
He ran it back, didn't he?
Oh, I'm telling you, if his guy wasn't going to catch it, no one else was.
Where's this ball going? More of a ricochet almost.
All right, Badin has 2 back to return the punt here.
Here is the punt for Arcuri. And it's going to be returned, it looks like, by Braden Moore.
Stiff arm.
And gives a little extra shove there out of bounds to Leon Penson. Alter fans wanted a flag there.
Come on. Hey, yeah, unnecessary.
There you go. Just a little shove there. A little shove.
Yeah, they might have about 20 FBI agents now picking them up for that little shove.
That's right.
I
That's right.
Slipped again.
That's right.
Danny holds his head. No, Neil,
Man.
don't do that. Don't do
Man.
that.
Yeah, he was illegally across the border there with that shove.
He was. My dad is starting to get old, Danny. There's no filter on that mouth of his.
You got me by 4, don't you, Neil? You're 4 years. You're the Paul McCartney song, right?
I am the Paul McCartney song when I'm 64.
That's right.
That's it. 1st and 10 for the Badin Rams.
All right.
Trips receivers to the left side of the formation. This is going to be a pass play from Ritzy. Right dump off to Cheek.
Good little seed
Very
there.
easy pass. It's pretty effortless there for the Rams.
It's a good snap. Kind of the snap of the ball. It was well-formed play.
Yeah, Ritzy's just got a rifle, doesn't he? I mean,
9-yard gain, not a problem.
He can get it right there.
But he had the good sense not to throw it too hard.
That's true.
It was zippy, but it was very tasty.
He hit a very safe receiver on that play, too.
And I'm
That
going to
was not
say,
a hard route to
second and a
complete.
half yard, I'm going to say this is a run up the middle. Okay, we'll see.
Look for Russo up the middle.
Oh, yeah. There he goes.
There it is. And that's going to be enough for a first down.
It's exactly what they
needed
wanted.
1, they got 2. Yeah, gentlemen, I had my elder experience on Wednesday night. I had to go over to Westchester to call a Say soccer game, and I was reffing a game with a 13.
At the pit?
Yeah, Westchester, not Elder, yeah.
Okay.
Westchester Say at Hopewell, and I'm reffing a game with a 13-year-old, second or third year ref, and I'm calling a girls' wings game, 3rd and 4th grade girls. Ritzy lines them up here under center. I'll finish the thought here in a second. Ritzy's going to take the snap, a little swing pattern to, that's number 1 who fumbles the football. That's Carter Russo. And we'll see, I think Alter might have it.
Alter does have it.
Looks like that is Colin Wayner who came up the football for the Knights, and Alter very much hanging around. It'd be nice for them if they were more than closer than 3 scores, but Badin has certainly committed enough turnovers to give Alter life if they can take advantage of it.
Now, based on that play there, I thought the pass was behind the line of scrimmage, so I was taking
it might have been a running play.
Yeah, I'd call that a run. Yeah.
Looked like it was a lateral.
I agree with you.
The form of a pass. So, Joel, I'm interested in hearing about these second graders.
Oh, I had 3rd and 4th grade girls
Yeah.
as Noah Jones takes the ball in shotgun formation. Takes the snap, and it's going to be a fake handoff to Schaefer. Jones going to keep it himself, and is wrapped up by Anzalone and company. Not a lot of room there. Also, shout out to 76. We don't have the number on our roster, but he
has
helped make the
spirit.
tackle there. He does have spirit, that's for sure. So yes, I was calling a 3rd and 4th grade girls game with a 13-year-old partner referee named Gail, and end of the 3rd quarter, the girls come back out to take the field for the 4th quarter, and a couple of the 3rd and 4th grade girls pointed at the other referee and asked me, "Is that your daughter?" That was the first time I've ever experienced that as a referee. There was a 23-year age gap, so I could understand that.
Good
Did
work.
she have red hair? That's
No,
the
she
question.
did not.
Okay.
She did not.
We have a
But I
break.
could have said she looks like her mother, and it would have been believable, I suppose. Handoff up the middle to Rod Owens, and Rod Owens is going to have enough for a first down for the Knights across midfield. Go ahead, Dan.
That might be the single longest play for Alter tonight.
They've not had a lot of that.
That was a 14-yard run, wasn't it?
And Alter would love to get a little bit more of that. That's for sure. But obviously, down by 3 scores, they can't afford to dilly-dally and just milk the clock like they would otherwise love to.
And our clock's approaching 8 minutes in the 3rd.
Noah Jones has Rod Owens next to him in the backfield, 24 and 25, the 2 guys in the backfield. This is an option play, and Jones keeps it. There
He
is
got blown
nothing there.
He got
As
blown up.
big old Caden Starks gets into the backfield, the linebacker for the Rams, and blows them up.
He froze.
He blowed him up real good.
I think he just simply forgot to pitch.
I don't know that he had the opportunity
He
to
might,
pitch.
he might have had no angle. For
The
that
angle was
pitch.
bad. The defensive end was
Yeah.
crashing into that passing lane. There wasn't a whole lot there for Jones to work with at all.
If he
It's
did
funny.
pitch it, he might have pitched it to the Badin defensive end.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that, Dan.
It's a delicate play. You got to have your running back in sync with the quarterback to be in the right spot
Ooh.
to get the pitch.
Handoff up the middle, and that is to Owens. And there's a
Flag.
ball on the field. That's not a flag. That's a beanbag. We got a fumble,
Badin.
and the Badin Rams have it.
Well,
The ball was on the
The
ground.
ball was on the ground, and Carson Cheek
And
comes
Badin-
up with it.
Badin returns the favor.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
How
not a
about
flag. That's a beanbag, and that means there's a change of possession.
Kind of sloppy here to start the second half.
A little bit ugly there. I never saw the ball came loose, but two referees threw the beanbag right away. It's like they clearly saw it. First and 10 for the Rams.
The beanbag's on the ground.
The beanbag is on the field.
Kind of bad luck for Alter on that play because I believe that the left tackle jumped a half second early
Could have
to
been a
begin
false start?
Yeah, it should have been a false start, which Alter would have been backed up 5, still got to keep the ball. So that's where not calling the penalty cost Alter.
Badin's going to open this up, it looks like.
The other thing you got to remember, too, Dad, about Alter's offense is the fact that they're playing with a running back. Their
Instead
normal
of a
fullback
quarterback.
is playing
Yeah.
quarterback right now. That's a pass to Brennan. Easily done for about 8 yards. That's been there most of the day for the Rams. But, yes, all of those tricky timing plays with an option, even with a handoff, how much time do you actually practice this with your backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Who's really your starting fullback, who's getting his practice reps in the fullback positions of the wishbone. It's not ideal
You take
for the
away,
Knights.
you take away probably more than half your playbook, too.
I think you're right about that. That's ugly. Handoff to Yordi up the middle.
Nice defense by Alter there.
Very stout defensive line for the Knights. They play with a lot of pride. This is football royalty up here, Dan. They're not going to back down from anybody.
They're 4-2. They are no slouch by any means.
They're going to probably win their 5th game, I would think, against Carroll later on this year.
Yep.
Carroll seems to be the doormat of the league at this point in time. And then, of course, how does Alter do against Fenwick next week? How does Alter do against CJ? Those are the questions.
Yeah, we got 3rd and 4 here. Badin in an obvious passing situation. We'll see what they dial up here. This is where I think instead of doing a dink, you throw it deep.
Over
We'll
the
see what
top.
hap-
They
oh,
got
yes.
man coverage.
Here's a little high.
Little out pattern. And it's very, very well defended there by Colin Wayner on the play. Pass was intended for Quinn Brennan, who had a nice long touchdown on a 4th and 14 earlier today. And I'm sure Reese Anzalone is going to go ahead and punt and try to pin the Knights back deep here. Well, the defenses are now finally settling in. We wondered early in the game, Dan, you had said you thought this would be more of a defensive game. It did not start out like that in any way, shape, or form, but it's settling into that now.
Yeah, I think there's enough, that they've seen that, repeats they can stop them. Nice kick by Badin.
Anzalone Coffin corners that. Is it going to be traceable? Not
Oh.
quite for Quinn Brennan as the ball rolls into the end zone for an Alter touchback. And Noah Jones and the Knights will begin this drive on their own 20-yard line. Shout out to Chris Hart, athletic director for the Alter Knights, as well as the co-head basketball girls coach. Personal favorite of mine. Love Chris Hart whenever I get to run into her. I think one of the last times I was up here seeing a Badin Alter game, it was at Springboro High School. Alter, like Badin, does not have a home field, plays home games at whatever local stadium the closest to their facility that happens to not have a home game on that night. Centerville on the road tonight, thus Alter is here. Wishbone formation for Jones. And Jones is going to hand off to Schaefer. No, he's going to keep it himself. Bounce it around, and there ain't much room, but he's going to spin back around.
Oh, look at that.
Carve something out of this.
Fabulous.
Stood up by Cheek, and after running about 30 yards, he's going to get about 6.
You both said 30 at the same time.
We had to pick a number.
We could just kind of visualize it.
I guess so.
15 one way, 15 the other, then due north.
I guess.
That's nice.
I guess. But, yes, the last time I was up here for a Badin Alter game was the 8 years ago when the Panthers came up to play the Bengals, and I flew up and we all had lunch together at Skyline. I was teaching down in Florida. We all drove up to see Badin and Alter. Very cold, rainy night that night. That cold October Ohio rain that kind of like pierces you to the bone.
Yeah, it's much colder than snow, that's for sure.
It can be. And I got up to the gate there, and Chris Hart and her co-head coach, longtime assistant, both saw me up there. Joel, you're up from Florida. Come on in. No ticket required.
Wow.
Very kind of Chris Hart and her assistant there. They've been excellent when you run into them at Mulcahy Gym, scouting out Badin, scouting out one of the other opponents, whatever. They've always got good, helpful basketball coaching advice for grade school coaches and such. Good people up here in Kettering. Jones is going to hand off the ball.
Nice
Stacked
second
up,
effort.
And a great second effort there. Was that Schaefer on the carry? Looking
Yeah.
to see if that's big old 36 getting up from the pile there.
Yeah.
I think it's Schaefer. Yes, it is. And a first down and 10 for the Alter Knights. Schaefer's a captain, one of the 6 seniors on this Alter roster, plays running back as well as defensive end.
And he is big old when you say that. 6 foot, 194. And I bet he's over 200 by now.
First and 10 now for the Knights. Handoff again to Schaefer.
Badin's ready for it.
Yeah, not much.
A lot of guys on the line there. I
Yeah.
noticed there wasn't much in the backfield defensively for the Rams.
This game is starting to turn into the Green Machine show, as you said
Yeah.
earlier, Neil. They're
Well, they
7
give-
points on the board against the Badin defense, but we're getting near the fourth quarter now. We're down under 4 minutes to go, and unfortunately, Alder can say, our quarterback was hurt, but, Badin dominated with the starting quarterback against him in the first half, and the Badin defense is starting to take over. There's no doubt about it.
Second down and 10 for the Knights now, back in that tight wishbone formation again. The handoff once again to Schaefer.
Nothing.
Not a lot of imagination right now for the Ultra playbook, and I think, Dad, you're right. When Gavin Connor goes out in the second quarter of this game, I think you're correct. Half of the playbook probably shrinks on you.
All of it.
And, yeah.
Not a lot of playbook.
Yeah, end of the
Lots
third
of
quarter, we had given Kastner and the Mason Comets all kinds of credit for being 10-7 with Lakota West at the end of 2. At the end of 3, Lakota West has opened up a 30-7 lead now over Mason. And end of the third quarter, Columbus, St. Francis de Sales, and the Dover Tornadoes still tied 6-6 at the end of 3. Pass up
Nicely
and complete to Ethan Willits.
Just enough, I think. Just short.
They're going to mark him short.
Close to the stick.
Dan, I remember, see
Yeah.
that 6-6 score. I remember a 9-6 game at one point in time that your Lions played against the Seahawks up in Detroit. It's back mid-2000s. Mike Holmgren is the coach of the Seahawks.
Wow.
And somebody asked him in the press conference about a defensive struggle, and he said, actually, I think it was an offensive struggle.
Oh, that's great.
Let's see what they do. I think they might go for it.
Oh,
here.
they
Ultra
are.
should absolutely go for this. I mean, you're down by 3 scores. You're-
Interesting, the quarterback's
3
in the
minutes left in the
shotgun.
third.
I know.
I can't stand
I
that.
know you
I
hate that.
know.
I know you hate it.
Got
I
on
hate it.
5 yards to get
Jones
one.
going to keep it as a
Plenty
read
of-
option.
Plenty of room.
He's going to get a lot of room. Dan, you might hate it, but Ed Domesites is going to love it. First and 10 for the Knights. Best offensive play of the night.
Just a little love
And there's
for
that read
Alter.
option play we were talking about earlier that Alter's not run a whole lot. We're seeing that a lot in the NFL now these days, where they're fake the handoff to the running back and the quarterback is reading that defensive end.
Right.
Seeing if the end bites down, you keep the ball and tuck it out of the outside. If the end keeps his lane, you hand it off.
I'm waiting for a quarterback in the NFL to get blown up on that, and then that won't be in vogue anymore. Just kind of like the Miami Dolphins running
Tua.
the
Oh, poor
Wildcat.
Tua.
Oh, Tua, yeah.
Danny, I don't have the stat, but that definitely was, I thought, their longest play of the game.
It was.
Noah Jones is going to pitch this to Schaefer. That's a risky pitch, again, coming from running back to running back there. Tricky for Alter to make that happen.
Too much Badin.
Badin's defense is tough,
Too
man.
much Badin there.
Very, very tough.
I mean, they had either end of that covered, and they lost some yards, about 4.
This is an effective drive, but it's almost like waiting for anesthesia to kick in before you get your root canal done.
Yeah, you got to give it a little time for it.
8 minutes on the clock, right, Danielle?
Yeah,
Is that right?
it takes 8 minutes to numb.
8 minutes to
You're
numb.
impressive, Joel.
That's right.
That is correct.
Waiting for the sedation to take effect.
2nd and 14.
An I formation.
Jones is going to keep it.
It's becoming.
The read option is working.
That's been their best play right
the
now.
Keeping is working.
Well, it's all going to be a read based on the Badin defensive line, but Baden's line is pinching on Schaefer, and it's giving Jones the opportunity to carve up through the linebacking core a little bit. Carson Cheek brings him down there. It's going to be a 3rd down and manageable now for Alter.
Giving Badin an opportunity to get a little education here.
Certainly, I would.
The more different looks they see, the only they're going to benefit.
That's true. That's true.
It's a learning
Let's see if they pull it
experience.
again, and this time he does give it.
Back in the shotgun, we have 3rd and 4 here.
You also have an H-back in there now. We've not seen much of. That's number 11, Ethan Willits.
Straight pass.
Jones is going to scramble. He's going to throw it back across his body. Baden's coaching staff next door is asking for an out of bounds and coming back in.
And they waved it off, Joel.
They did call it incomplete.
Yes, they did.
But it was an incomplete pass. Yes. Sammy Miller, the intended receiver.
So Sammy wandered out of bounds and then came back in and caught it, and that's a no-no. So that's why it was incomplete. Big 4th down here.
2nd 1.
Gabe Caruso has just scored a 1-yard touchdown, and Columbus St. Francis de Sales has taken a 13-6 lead over Dover. 9:52 left to go in the 4th quarter of that game. That's good news for Badin.
Yes, it is. Second-level points.
Second-level points.
Robinson Crusoe, and today is Friday.
That's it. Handoff up the middle, and that's snuffed out.
Done.
Nothing doing. Badin football.
Well, it's kind of like a I'm trying to think where I've seen that kind of play.
Counter trap.
Yeah, counter trap. I was thinking Washington Redskins there.
Yeah.
Redskins ran that all the time back in the day.
Commanders, Dan.
No, they were the Redskins.
back then, yes.
We like the name.
That's
we
right.
Don't care.
8:30 left to go at Penn Station Stadium on the east side of Cincinnati. McNicholas has taken a 13-7 lead over Fenwick. Alter, you might get some second-level points tonight yet from McNick. So there's that. So that's good news.
Tell you a funny Commander story here in a second after this play.
Just a time check. We're under 30 seconds now
In the third quarter. No running clock. This has been nice.
Yeah.
Ritzy to Brennan. Brennan complete. He'd like to stay in bounds, and he does. And that should end the third quarter as he's brought down by Michael Russ, the defensive back on the play.
My Detroit Lions were playing the Washington Commanders, and during the game, it said Detroit has won 5 of the last 6 games versus the Commanders.
That's not
so.
possible.
So of course I said I'm thinking, Chris Vogt, who is a big Washington Redskins / Commanders fan. I'm like, that can't be.
It can't be.
And then when the Lions beat Washington in that game, it said the Lions are the first team to beat the Commanders. So they had the same graphic like 10 minutes after they put the previous graphic up. It was
So
hilarious.
they both beat him 4 out of the 5 last times they played him, and also were the first team to beat him.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Nicely done.
Nicely done there by Fox.
From the Department of Things That Make No Sense.
Yeah.
We've reached the end of the quarter number 3. Go ahead, Dan.
Speaking of Fox, what do you think of these new announcers? Everybody's moving. We have Aikman and Buck doing ESPN Monday Night Football. We have Kevin Burkhardt as the
Who's Kevin Burkhardt?
Yeah, Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson are the #1 Fox broadcast.
I know who Greg Olson is. I'm a Carolina Panther fan. He was a wonderful tight end for my team.
Greg Olson wears his hair like every kid I saw growing up in the 70s. Greg Olson and his amazing Ken doll hair. Looks like a Ken doll.
No doubt about it.
So Fox, but you know who's going to be the #1 analyst for Fox next year? I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh, probably Tom Brady, right?
Tom Brady, if you guys want to look it up on Google, it's an insane amount of money. He has like a 5 or 6 year guaranteed contract to be the #1 analyst for Fox for the next 6 years or whatever, starting next year. So this is definitely Brady's last year. He's not going to unretire again. A lot of people are happy to see Brady out of the league because when you play him, you usually lose. He's
That's
amazing.
true.
He is amazing.
I think that last carry was Zach Yord. He was a real nice
All
one.
right. Sorry about that.
Not at all.
First down, Badin. We're in the fourth quarter. No scoring in the third.
Yordy's in the backfield again.
1st and 10 now for the Rams.
There
and it
he
is
goes
Jordy.
again. Another nice carry. 5, maybe 3. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
I felt like Ken Brew. It's long enough, it's straight enough, it's short.
It's short. That's right.
Whoops.
There was an insane stat on Tom Brady somewhere, and I forget now what it was, but it had to do with the percentage at the time he made it to a conference championship game.
Yeah.
And he was more likely to make it into a conference championship game than the average team was to win 5 games in a season or something like that. It was crazy.
That's crazy. Considering
forget what the stat was.
considering as a Lions fan, I've only seen one conference championship game that
That
the
would have
Lions
been
got.
1991, correct?
That's correct, against the Redskins.
Against the Redskins again.
And the Lions got killed.
Too bad you didn't beat them that time.
Yes.
If they would have named the Commanders, you might have got them. Pass complete to Brennan. It's going to be a 1st and 10 for the Rams.
I'll tell you, both teams have kind of settled down here. We're seeing, short, intermediate passes by Badin. They're not in any hurry to throw a deep pass. They're just trying to keep that clock going as they run out of bounds on the last play.
Yeah, definitely want to keep that clock running if you're Badin. And Alter, I don't know. You're down by 21 points. If you think you can come back and win this thing, you want to keep the clock stopped. But if you don't, you'd kind of like to get off the field without any more injuries. It's been a very, very difficult night to be an Alter night. Ritzy's going to look deep. He's got man coverage.
Got it.
Over the shoulder grab. Complete. Did he stay in bounds? It looks like they're going to mark him
I think
in.
he did. And I wasn't so sure the last play was a completion, Joel. It looked odd to me that they placed the ball midway through the sticks, and I thought that we caught it for a first down. That's definitely a first down on
No
this.
doubt.
Yeah,
That's Quinn Brennan over the top.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, Quinn's their leading receiver this year, and he's
The mighty Quinn.
the mighty Quinn.
Come
I
on
like it.
without, come on within. You
Manford man.
Nothing
That's right.
like the mighty Quinn.
Ritzy's going to be leading the GCL co-ed in all kinds of passing stats after this game. Badin has just torched Alter's defense through the air. That's been their absolute most effective. It's been over the top. It's not been a lot of short passes.
Really. Outside of the Russo run to start the game, Badin's another completion.
There is a short pass that is complete. That is Carson Cheek on the play.
Badin's running game after the first long Russo run to start the game has been kept in check, really. It's just been throwing the ball down the field. That's pretty much been their MO the whole game here.
Well, Alter defensively has played this thing very close to the line of scrimmage. You remember we had the Ross Badin game a few weeks ago.
Right.
And Badin ended up getting a lot of swing passes and not a lot deep. They had the one deep pass, and then Ross backed way off and did not let anybody throw it over the top. Alter has done the opposite strategy. Everybody is within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage here, and they're daring Ritzy to throw it over the top of them. Pass complete to Carson Cheek.
1st and goal.
1st and goal for the Rams.
Clock rolling, too.
Even with the touchdown.
Pause for the reset of the chains, and then it'll be rolling. Go ahead.
Yeah, we won't have a running clock if Badin scores here, so I'm
9.
happy. I'm happy about that.
You'll need 9, yep.
Yep.
Why don't you go ahead and zoom in on this play here, Dad?
See
if you
Stand
can
up
get
and-
it.
I think I'll be able to figure this out.
See if we can get a nice little highlight here or other way. Whoa.
Well, that's tough to control, but I
It
think I've got
is.
a pretty good. It's just too
They
much.
do have 2 receivers out wide there. That is a handoff up the middle to Yordy.
I think he might be at about
Referee
the
is
one.
marking him just a hair short.
Missed it by
That
much.
Western Brown and Clinton Massey still battling back and forth out east. And Western Brown has a 36 to 28 lead over the Falcons. So an 8-point game late in the third there. Western Brown and Clinton Massey. It'd be very good for Badin if Clinton Massey could find a way to pull off that game.
2nd and 6 inches.
And, of course, the quarterback is in the shotgun.
This is still going to be a handoff up the middle, I would think.
Yeah, I put him behind center.
There he goes.
There is
And
Yordy.
there he goes.
And in he goes. Easy does it. And a touchdown for the Rams.
Easy peasy, up and easy.
It's our second Shawshank reference of the night.
That's right. Well, I've been librarian since
And-
1903. 5.
So we have the swinging
Brooks was
gate
here.
going to the left for some reason we don't know why.
If Morgan's watching, Brooks was here.
Yeah.
Let's watch them move to the right. There they go.
And that's how they do the
Hokey pokey.
hokey.
That's it.
Pretty
Warner's
kick.
kick is beautiful.
Yeah.
He has a
and
leg.
I should retract my statement earlier in the game about the strength of the kicking because he just had a very weak kick
The first one.
when he kicked that. Yeah.
Very,
Probably
very
I
strong.
think it's in the second quarter. So.
Yeah. Elder scored again, so Moeller now only leads 42-14, and the running clock stops with 3:52 left to go in the fourth.
That's good. They,
Oh,
they
my
want their money's worth. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
exactly.
8,300 people there, they're saying.
Yeah.
Think of the money.
Pre-sale. That was pre-sale.
Yeah,
Wow.
Think of the money they're stealing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that running clock, they need to give
It's-
everybody $5 back.
It's like a really bad taxi driver, you know.
Yeah.
Cha-ching, 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 or
End of the third quarter, Fairfield leads Hamilton 27-7. Looking to see if I can
They're
get a
still
Roger
the
Bacon
Indians.
score.
They honor the Native Americans by calling them the Indians. That's impressive.
the Indians probably don't care.
Roger Bacon has scored again, Badin fans, so it's 21-7 in favor of the Spartans. Looking to give Badin 5 more second-level points tonight. Here's a short kick. Return bounced off the 20-yard line, and it's about 7 yards there. Alter's going to have the ball down by 28 with 8.5 minutes left to go here in the fourth.
So Neil earlier called Alter Roger Bacon, and that was that's because of the color.
Yeah,
I mean,
hey,
Roger Bacon used to have a little more yellow.
They
than
were
you.
yellow and brown.
They were
at one
yellow and
point.
brown, and now they're
Just
brown Roger
and white.
Bacon. Yeah. It's more like bacon on white bread, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No mustard, please.
No mustard on that sandwich. That's right.
I am thrilled. You know why? Because
Why?
I only did it once.
Baden is in the classic all white Rhodes jerseys.
Folks, that is the understatement of the year because Danny's favorite word in the English language is
Classic.
Classic.
Absolutely.
a classic.
Except I never liked it that Coca-Cola, when they made new Coke, and then they brought back Coke, they had to call it Coke Classic. And then
Coca-Cola Classic.
and they kept it classic for like 20, 25 years.
They have dropped that. haven't
No, it's
they?
just Coke now.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need the classic anymore. Coke is Coke.
I'm sure there's not anybody out there now that is going to confuse it with the new Coke formula.
No.
That was, 1985? That was when I was born, I think.
Yeah.
And it was only that year.
I
think,
remember
that
the
it
home movies
existed.
at the pool parties at your mom's house there,
Ruthie-
Danny. You know?
Ruthie
Oh, yes.
took- Ruthie took the can and she crushed it with her heel,
Yes.
barefooted.
Oh, yeah.
And she put scars in the concrete where she ground it.
We hated new Coke.
He's Ruthie.
Ah, she did a left and right with it. Took a dive play down the middle.
That's
Well-
not going to be Schaefer or Jones. It's one of the other running backs there. It looks like that might be 32, Graham Wolf out there for the Alter Knights. Go on, guys.
That's okay. I was just going to talk about new Coke again.
Talk
but-
about new Coke. It's a 28-point game.
Well,
What do we
it
care?
was a the Pepsi challenge. It was a big thing, and
Yeah.
people were picking Pepsi in the taste test. So they wanted to be more like Pepsi, and it was a failure. But you wonder deep down if they did it on purpose, just so people would start wanting to drink Coke again, the way
Well,
Coke
you
used to be.
You wonder, Danny, what would happen these days if they had another challenge.
Yeah,
I mean, the challenge did favor Pepsi, didn't it?
Pepsi's a sweeter product.
And it worked for them, and it's like, well, I give up.
Yeah.
Well, Pepsi to me is a hair on the sweet side.
Yep.
Coke is a hair on the bitter burn.
acidy side.
Exactly.
Right.
If you're going to ask me about a cola and what I'm going to stash in my fridge, I'm going to take the RC
RC, I
cola, the
knew it.
Royal Crown.
Oh,
Because
is
the
there
R-
any doubt you would want RC, Joel?
Well,
that is so funny.
the thing about the RC Cola is it takes a little bit of the sweetness out of the Pepsi, but takes
Yeah.
a little bit of the edge off of the Coke and kind of meets them right in the center at the best of both worlds.
Joel,
So,
we'll do this play, and I'm going to ask you something about
third
RC.
down and 8, and a
Nice
run
counter.
by Jones.
Ooh,
And
he
he's
got
stuck.
but he got
Carson
the first
Teague
down.
has had a really good game for Baden.
Nice-
Makes the tackle. but
nice stick.
First down for Jones. Go ahead.
The Onion, Joel.
Oh, the Onion.
You got to read the RC
I love
article,
the Onion.
RC Cola article. Okay, they celebrated their 10th sale or something like that, and it said, Elliott Smith of Bradenton, New Jersey, bought a 12-pack. When they asked him why he bought it, he said because he couldn't reach the Coke or the Pepsi on the top shelf. So read the Onion RC article.
Wow.
It's great.
Hand up the middle. That looks like that's once again Graham Wolf.
Just don't leave our broadcast now to look at that. Wait till we're done. Then
Pull up another tab. You can do that.
Oh, pull up another tab on the RC.
But don't pull out another tab out of your refrigerator.
Oh,
Joel,
yeah.
here's your quiz question of the night.
All right.
What does RC stand for?
Royal Crown. I just
You
told
got
you.
it.
Very good.
Yeah.
He didn't know it pizza where it came from.
I did not. I was learning that.
Little Caesars?
I remember it vaguely as a kid growing up, you bringing 2 pizzas home from Little Caesars, but I did not remember.
It was buy one, get one free.
Well, it was a price for 2. It was always 2.
Right.
It was in a long platter.
Box, yeah.
It wasn't even a box.
Deep, he's got him.
Rough.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Pass.
Michael Russ.
Beautiful.
Over the top from Noah Jones, and Noah Jones got a little more of an arm than he's shown earlier tonight.
Completion.
Where's that been all game? Goodness sakes. Well, not all game, since the third quarter.
Right.
While they walked down the field,
Yes.
Little Caesars sold a pizza on a piece of cardboard, basically, but they put 2 on a long piece of cardboard and slid it into a long sleeve of paper,
Yep.
crimped it over, and stapled it.
Yep.
I do remember that now that you mentioned
Every time
this.
you bought a Little Caesars, you always got 2. And
That's right.
Pizza.
Pizza. That makes sense.
So tell your grandparents that, kids. They'll be impressed.
Pizza
Schaefer
trivia.
is a fake hand up.
Look at
Seth
this.
Jones
He's going to
keep
get
it.
in there.
Nice.
Touchdown.
How
Noah
about that?
Jones and
How
the
about
Knights are back on the board.
I feel good for them for this.
I do too.
I do too.
I do too.
That's good ball calls and
A little trickeration there. I'll tell you, I liked it. Joel, you were saying earlier in the quarter how predictable, or maybe that was Neil, how predictable and mundane the offense was. Those were 2 beautiful plays. Looked like Badin offense.
It may have worked if they lulled Badin to sleep a little bit, but hello. That was some nice football.
Extra point up. Extra point good. And the Alter Knights have cracked the scoreboard twice against the Badin defense
you can
tonight.
see the offense with a little extra spring in their step running off the field.
You got to feel good about yourself.
You do. I mean, if you're going to get beat, you're going to come down fighting.
Yep. They don't quit.
There's no shame in that at all.
Alter is football royalty, like Joel said earlier, and you can see it. They don't quit.
Pride.
Couple other updates. Roger Bacon has scored again. They pull open a 27-7 lead over CHCA. Very good news for Badin as Roger Bacon, who is a much more valuable opponent to Badin as a non-conference opponent than they were when they were playing in the GCL co-ed, is going to give Badin some more second-level points, just like they did last week. Jude Hooks has taken it over the goal line to score, capping off a 13-play, 62-yard drive. Fenwick back on top of McNicholas, 14-13 with 2:50 left to go in that game. That's a good ball game.
That's a good
on
game.
the east side of Cincinnati. Alter's already beaten McNick, so they would like McNick to win. But if Fenwick wins, then Alter can still get those points later by beating Fenwick. I believe those two play next week.
Joel,
Okay.
is Elder Moeller finished by now? I wondered if they tightened that.
I think it was finished in the first half, Neil.
Well, yeah. Let's go officially.
This kickoff is going to go
we
out
got
of
a
bounds.
penalty. Wah, wah, wah.
Doink.
Yes, Alter is home again next week against Bishop Fenwick, who is 5-1. So maybe 6-1, who knows? Another opportunity for Alter next week to collect some major points if they can find a way to pull it off. But the first question. The first question is, sorry, I'm distracted here. I just got a tweet from somebody. Rick Casano is now reporting, according to Twitter, that Ross is dropping Badin in all sports.
Ooh.
Ross AD emailed Badin AD with the news. That's according to Rick Casano via RM Cam, who's
That's
tweeting
too
us right
bad.
now during the broadcast.
It's
so.
always a good moneymaker.
And it's a good rivalry.
It's a hometown rivalry. It's like when Badin Fairfield stopped. It was sort of a
Well,
sad
maybe
time.
maybe Badin Hamilton will be the
That'll
new
be
one.
excellent.
Badin Hamilton will be excellent. I'll tell you what, Badin, get on the horn to Villa Angela St. Joseph again and see if you can get them to come down here next year and fill in that open spot. We'll play you again.
We'll play you. And you know what? We don't face the sun half the game either.
Any ideas why that happened, Joel? Do you have some ideas, or would you not like to share them on the air?
Ross?
Yes.
Well, my guess, if I were to guess, is that they're probably just tired of losing.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it, right? You were trying to get as many second-level points as you can for your playoff speed. You schedule Badin, who's in the state championship game last year and is 6-0, going to be 7-0 here real easily. What is the upside for Ross to play that game other than the gate?
Joel Fairfield lost 30 years in a row.
Yeah, they did.
And they kept coming back.
They did.
Kudos to Fairfield.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. The playoff points were not in play back then the way that they are now.
It's a whole new ball game.
I mean, there are reasons why Badin scheduling Villa Angela St. Joseph was the absolute perfect opponent they could have played. There are reasons why Alter, even with a 4-2, going to be 4-3 record here, has got to be scratching their heads at Thurgood Marshall. Can you win us a game?
When's the last time?
Meadowdale's not won them much either.
Has Thurgood Marshall won a game in the last 2 years? I don't think so.
They've not won many. They've won a couple, but it's not been much. It's not been
The
much.
judge has not been in session, that's for sure.
Kettering Fairmont has won at Roush Stadium. They won 10-7 over Miamisburg tonight. That's why this game is here and not there.
Interesting, Badin is running their number one running back, Russo, this late in the game.
With a 21-point lead.
Yeah, I hope he just doesn't get hurt.
Danny, you tweaked the thought when you said Judge. He's hit 61 home runs this year.
Yes.
Aaron Judge.
Did he hit 61?
Oh yeah, he got it.
He got
it Wednesday night in the 7th or 8th inning. Yeah.
61.
I keep forgetting it's baseball season, but yes, you're right.
Well,
no asterisk.
As a Reds fan, it's easy to forget.
Oh, when you
the
start
baseball
3-22, it's been not baseball season all year.
That was historic.
That was historic. It was brutally bad. 2nd and 5 now for the Badin Rams. Handoff again to Russo up the middle. Dan, you asked about your Rough Riders. End of the third quarter,
Yes.
St. Mary's Memorial leading Kenton 55-0.
All right.
Rough Riders riding high in St. Mary's tonight.
It's a rough ride for Kenton, isn't it?
I just don't see the Virgin Mary and Rough Riders in the same sentence very often. So that's impressive. I'll leave it at that.
Our Lady of the Broncos.
Our Lady who likes it, rough riding, yes. Well, she went from Nazareth to Bethlehem, 8 months pregnant. I'm sure that was a pretty rough ride.
And according to St. Joseph, there was no rough riding at all.
Oh, yes, that's right. 3rd down, handoff up the middle.
He's breaking it. He could score.
I think he might break this.
Outrun him.
Oh, he's separating from the Alter defensive backs.
Wow.
And into the end zone goes Carter Russo with a few extra fantasy points for you tonight, folks.
It looked like Tyreek Hill once he got a gap. He just went zoom.
He did.
He turned on the Jets.
The Jets, yes.
I love that. Well, Badin scores with 2 minutes and 8. We just want to give the folks a little idea on time. And the score was right on time. The score is flipped. 41 and flip it, you get 14.
Right. So if you like that sort of flipping score stuff, you want a missed extra point here.
Well, that's over with.
Extra point is up and good. That's Bud Mayahara Jr., the backup kicker.
Did he boom it through? I couldn't see it.
Booming it through.
No problem. No problem. I think that one kick was an anomaly that I commented on.
Uh-huh.
So he didn't get good wood on it, did he?
Badin, the Green Machine's been scored on twice tonight.
Yeah, that's
so
shows you Alder has some quality.
I always ask the Lord for humility.
And he always gives it to you.
He gives it to me.
I'll tell you, you look at the Badin schedule this year, and Alder's definitely probably top 3 on the schedule. I would definitely maybe top 2. What do you think of that, Joel?
Give that to me one more time here, Dan. I was looking at the score here.
I was saying Alter on Badin's schedule is probably top 3 in quality of opponent, maybe even top 2.
I mean, Villa Angela St. Joseph is going to provide Badin with the most points.
Right.
But that does not mean that they're necessarily a better team than Alter. It just means they will have won more games against easier competition.
Right.
CJ, don't overlook them. Badin still has to deal with them. And Fenwick is 5-1. Right now, maybe 6-1 if they hold on and beat McNick. This whole GCL co-ed schedule, there's not going to be a lot of easy games for Badin. They can't take anybody for granted down the stretch here.
Nice return.
Yeah, Alter's had a lot of returns, obviously, being scored 42 points. And it seems like the last guy on Badin's defense makes that needed tackle. Well, they've had so many opportunities where they almost broke it. One guy.
Thought crossed my mind, Danny, about these good teams, and Alter being one. I think of Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
VASJ. He was just like a college
He was tough, wasn't he?
athlete out there. With
We mean
high
VASJ's Bo Jackson, not
VSJ,
not
Not Auburn's Bo Jackson.
I mean the Bo Jackson we saw earlier this year
Oh,
in Cleveland.
Oh, my. I
he
did
was
not see him.
something to see.
Was he amazing?
He was amazing.
Well, he's named adequately, that's for sure.
When we called that game, I just thought we got to watch out. Badin's got to watch out for the big play because they were explosive. And they had a number of big plays, Joel, as you recall.
early in the game,
Not
especially.
only early, and things seemed to settle down after that. And I was just saying, I think you got to contain Jackson if you can.
And they were able to
And
for
they
the most
did,
part.
and things
They
started
were.
going better.
So apparently RM Cam, who told us about Ross and Badin not scheduling each other, says Ross already had a week 5 replacement. The AD refusing to elaborate on the decision to Rick Cassano. He was an old guy, RM Cam. Thank you for watching and listening. He's one of Malone's former players from the 1970s.
Wow.
Also a shout-out to Anthony Galena, who's texting me right now, who's listening and watching in.
Oh, what a nice catch.
Beautiful grab there. Let's see here. Who was that?
And the throw
Looking
was
for a number. Got some of the backups on the field, some of the starters still on the field, a little bit of a mixed bag. That is Michael Russ.
I wanted to find out
I think Badin is purely backup, but
who threw that ball. That was a beautiful
Well, Noah
throw.
Jones is still out there
He
for
threw
the
that
Alter
ball.
Knights.
That was an incredible
This is a
pass.
good sign, at least for Alter, for future weeks. We're down to a minute left to go in this game here. Alter probably working out the playbook for what is usable against Fenwick next week and against Carroll and Chaminade the last 2 weeks. His handoff goes to Schaefer up the middle, and he's met.
Nicely open.
Badin defender number 41 on the play.
Oh, really?
Sam
Okay.
Von Hagen.
That's right. I was going to call Austin.
timeout by Alter. They want to score
They
here.
do want to score here, and I don't say as I blame them. They
Yeah.
got their first-string offense, or what's left of it without their starting quarterback against Badin's second-string defense, and they'd like to put a third touchdown out there.
We're down.
But yes, shout out to Anthony Galena, who is in the Lakota area. His wife had mentioned tonight that I guess Kate can hear the Lakota High School marching band, not Lakota West or East, but up there in the Fostoria area, the Kansas area, Lakota High School. And they can hear the marching band's halftime show from their front porch, apparently. Of course, Kate and Anthony Galena, both Bowling Green music graduates, and so those
Doesn't that
guys
sound nice?
probably recognize a lot of musicianship coming from there, especially marching band. Both of those are
What a serene moment, sitting
Band
on your
junkies,
front,
yes.
sitting on your front porch and listening to high school bands. That sounds cool.
Well, Alter was impressive. They had a jazz band at halftime.
They were playing some Stevie Wonder, weren't they?
Yeah, they
I
had-
saw that.
It was impressive.
And you saw the kick lines. Their drill team was impressive.
It was great. All right, let's see what happens here.
2nd and 3 for the Alter Knights. Noah Jones
Trying to fade in the
trying
corner.
to fade pass.
There's that pass.
It is caught, but out of bounds.
Very similar to the pass that got him into this area.
I think it was caught, but his feet couldn't come down because of a good defensive play.
That is Carter Sheets there, the intended receiver for the Knights.
Yeah, he pushed him out of bounds before he can get his feet down. That was a good play.
Looks
If
like
you-
West.
If you're going to let him have the catch.
That's right. Make sure he comes out of bounds. Looks like Western Brown is pulling ahead now of Clinton Massey. 7 minutes left to go in that game. Western Brown now up 49-28, so they're going to still be trying to nip at Badin's heels.
And get that 50 points.
Yeah, they're below average right now.
But I will say this, Badin should expand their lead after not only their win tonight, but also getting lots of second-level points from lots of teams helping them out this weekend. It's a good weekend on the Harbin points board for the Badin Rams. 3rd down and short, Noah Jones going to tuck it up and run.
He got the first down.
He is going to have the first down.
They'll get a momentary break in the clock.
I think Alter has called a timeout.
They have.
now.
There you go. We're under 37 seconds, folks.
Yeah, they Alter would have already had a momentary pause if they wanted to hurry up to the line of scrimmage. And I'm surprised that more teams in the college and high school don't do this. Keep the timeout when the clock is pausing anyway. Run your next play and then take it after your next play when the clock is already running. You
Yeah.
might be able to salvage a little bit more time
more miles per gallon
if you can
there.
be organized. That's the question, is getting organized.
I've trained you well with your clock management, Joel.
Danny,
That's right.
That's impressive.
I learned from Joel, Danny, so indirectly I've learned from you. It's amazing
I-
when you start to get this, how unbelievable you find coaching staffs at any level in football that doesn't get it.
The
hard.
The
It's hard.
NFL is
NFL's the king
absolutely
of that.
astounding to me how
Yeah.
bad some of these coaches are with clock
And that's not
management.
impugning the two coaches on the sideline.
They have enough-
Not tonight,
Yeah,
no. They've been fine.
They have enough money in the NFL to hire clock management specialists, and they don't even do it.
That's it. That's it.
They need to do it.
It's a great idea.
Little early motion. Jones going to try to run.
Draw.
Met and tackled there by Ryan Hogan of the Rams.
Now they got to hurry.
Boy,
clock
Hogan
runs.
is pumped. That was great.
Now they got to hurry. Maybe he'll spike it. He did.
All right, that loses it down.
So it's going to be
down,
third and goal
right?
now.
Yep.
All right.
Now, why are they running away? They don't have that kind of time to.
Now
They
this
got one timeout left still if you're
They
Alters.
do. Okay.
This
So-
reminds me of a memory
could
from my
run.
childhood. Alcoa presents You Make the Call.
I'm going to go with that read option again.
Okay.
I like the read option if you're Alter.
It's been effective.
I'm going to go with the fade to the left corner of the end zone where he was out of bounds one time, but the other one he caught the bomb. So I'm going to say the fade to the left corner. What's your call, Neil?
Draw again.
Another draw.
Why
Ooh.
not? Just try it because
They have a timeout still.
different formation. You got a blocker up there in the backfield.
Let's see who wins the Alcoa presents,
happens.
makes the
It's
call.
the option.
There is the
and
option.
pitch off the ground. Schaefer's going to get it.
Not well
be
done now.
bundled up, and I'll bet you Alter's going to let the clock drain all the way down to a few seconds and then take their last time out.
They're doing it.
It's going to be, they got time for one more play. They can't spike it. They have one timeout left. They just go ahead and snap it anyway. Pitch. Schaefer.
Stopped.
Set.
Denied.
Stopped.
And the game
Ball
is over.
game.
Final.
Clock runs out on the last play of the game there.
So
and the Badin
Alter,
Rams have a win.
yeah, Alter almost had the chance to be the team that scored the most points in a game against Badin this season, I believe, Joel.
Withrow had 17 in week
Yeah.
3. It's the last team that scored against Badin
Right.
4 weeks ago. They've gone a month without giving up a point. Finally, the Alter Knights break the scoreboard twice and put a couple points up there. A couple other scores out there as we get ready to wrap this thing up. It looks like Fenwick has taken a timeout. McNick has the ball on the Fenwick 20-yard line, down by only 1
Ooh.
late in that game.
Hopefully they have a field goal kicker.
Looks like Coleraine has scored to draw within 2, but they went for 2 and did not get it. So
Okay.
Middletown still has a 20-18 lead over Coleraine halfway through the 4th. Still time left there. And remember Elida?
Yes, I do.
They're in Badin's region. They're
Beautiful
playing
stadium.
the Wapakoneta Redskins tonight, and the Redskins have a 21-7 lead over the Elida Bulldogs.
Go Commanders.
3:15 left to play.
I'm not racist.
Looks like McNick has just scored a touchdown with 27 seconds left to go.
Wow.
So the Rockets have retaken the lead there. Alter, you might get some second-level points tonight yet. That's at least something, maybe the first good piece of news for the Knights on the board all evening. And we'll take one last look at these real quickly. Division 4 here. Alter was 5th coming into tonight. They're going to lose to Badin. They're going to drop. They got nothing from Thurgood Marshall. They got nothing from Meadowdale. They're going to get nothing from Northwest, but they might get 5 from McNick, and that is at least something, as Urbana and Taft are going to look to pass them up. Badin Rams looking here at Division 3. You're number 1. You're going to stay number 1 after tonight. Alter's going to give you 22 points. You're going to get some points from Ross, from Roger Bacon, from Withrow, and I've not seen an update for Columbus St. Francis DeSales. But DeSales was up 13-6 last I had seen here, and it looks like, if I could find anything at all for those guys.
Looks like Badin's comfortably in first place. I'll summarize it nicely there.
There you go. Well, they were up 13-6 over Dover last we saw. I have not seen any kind of update yet to this point in time, but that would be some points. And then, of course, Villa Angela St. Joseph going tomorrow against Columbus Bishop Hartley. So it could be a near sweep of the board for Badin, with only Carroll being the only blue block in there for the Rams.
Joel, I learned something valuable tonight. I have to research if Dover has ever had a tornado strike in the area. That's the question. I love the logo, the the Old English D with the tornado behind it. That was cool.
Well, probably haven't because of the cliffs.
The white cliffs of Dover.
Yeah,
Dover.
they can't support it.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it. Well, a beautiful night in Centerville.
Beautiful night.
Beautiful night to be a Badin Ram.
Yes.
Alter nights, we hope Godspeed to your quarterback, Gavin Connor. Hope he comes back healthy, but it looks like Noah Jones might have a little bigger arm than you thought.
That's
and
right.
If there's any silver lining that came out of the second half for Alter, that might be a weapon that they might need to use against Fenwick, Carroll, and Chaminade Julian, their last 3 games of the season. Badin is going to have, I believe they play Chaminade Julian next week, and then they would have Fenwick after that, and they would have McNick to finish. So I mean, this is not an easy GCL co-ed this year, but it's going to be a lot of points on the board for Badin and for Alter if they can pull off some wins in these last 3 weeks. A lot of points.
It'll be a lot of fun to watch too.
Certainly will. Any last thoughts, Dan Vogt?
No, I'm just more impressed with Badin week by week. They seem to know how to do it both ways, throwing, running the ball. Even their kicking game looked sharp tonight. And I didn't know a whole lot about their kicking game, but they were true tonight.
Danny, you just told a lie.
Uh-oh.
Any last thoughts, Dan? I'm re-rolling the tape.
Re-roll the tape? What do you say?
He said no, and then he went on.
Yeah, you gave your last thought. That's right.
No, I don't have any last thoughts.
But I'll add one.
I have first thoughts, maybe.
Neil, how about some thoughts for you?
Oh, I don't have any. No, the green machine. I want to keep saying it just because I'm
Wait a
excited
minute,
about.
You said no. You should be quiet now. Got you back. Go ahead, Green Machine.
I will give a little bit, Coach Jordy, if you're listening. Badin boys, I know you probably like to go onto YouTube and watch your own game highlights. As a fan watching your game, I will give you one critique. Ball security.
Yep.
Opening kickoff off the face mask, muffed punt. You had another fumble at one point in time in the game. Alter, without their quarterback, wasn't able to capitalize. Badin, your defense held tight well enough to make up for that. But those are the type of sloppy plays going into the playoffs that you need to get rid of before you play a team like Western Brown or a team like Granville or a team like Chardon, again, the state finals, because a team like that could make you pay for it. Ball security would be my one critique, and obviously, Dad, you've been a grade school basketball coach enough to know even when you win, you've got to find something to preach to your kids to not be satisfied.
Joel's a coach at heart, but I want to say one thing positive.
Okay.
For Coach Yordy. They've cleaned up the sportsmanship.
The penalties.
The sportsmanship.
The extracurricular penalties.
Yes.
Those we had a couple weeks of. Danny and I were talking
Roger
about
Bacon
it.
game.
Roger Bacon game. And we talked to Coach Yordy after the game. I said, Coach, you got to clean this up. And he knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, he did.
And I think we had one more week of some of that, but there's no evidence of it, I guess, probably the last 2 weeks.
There you go.
So, good. Kudos.
And for years, we went to these Badin Alter games just sitting in the stands thinking how cool it would be to broadcast. This is awesome being able. Thank you, Chris Vogt, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, Chris Hart, for accepting us here into the Centerville press box.
Thank you, Blake Hart, for one of the best hits I've ever seen in a high school game 2 years ago for New Miami.
And finally, thank God for life.
That's
Amen.
it.
And football.
Amen to that.
And football.
Catholic schools meeting up, always good to offer a nice prayer on your way out the door. So for Dan Vogt and Neil Sackenheim, thank you, Chris Vogt, and all the other votes out there, and all the other Sackens out there, and anybody else still listening to us crazy people talking football, talking life up here in the Centerville press box. This is Joel Sackenheim saying good night, everybody.
Good night.